Hi, and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. I am Midnight, I am the host, and I am here with Mythic
Hello.
and Darkness.
Hello.
And we are on episode 9 of The Well of Ascension. We did chapters 44 through 47 this week.
Oh, you heard that? Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
You always
Wait,
pretend that you read the wrong chapters.
No, I do. You sure it wasn't 48?
No, 48. So chapter 44, going straight in with an epigraph that I didn't really have a question for, but we'll read it anyways. And
I don't think any of these epigraphs should have a question. They all are
I have
terrible
questions
except the
first.
last one.
There's like one or two that actually could pose a good question.
Yeah, I got a couple questions. It's just not for this one really, which is, but must not even a madman rely on his own mind, his own experience, rather than that of others. Which there's not really a good question for this, except for in relation to the other epigraphs in this episode. So I didn't really have a good question for this. But yeah, did you guys have any thoughts on it, or no? I'll take that as a no.
Sorry, I was trying to think about it more in depth because
That's fine.
every time you read it, it's like
You think of more things.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially because we already read like ahead. So
Yeah. Sometimes gives a little more context when you read the epigraphs of the first couple chapters after reading the later chapters.
I will say I think I'm a little more biased on the epigraphs, due to the fact that I actually get that one extra. In
Yeah,
the
you
end,
always get that one extra one because of the audiobook.
And that one, in all honesty, I think trumped all of the other ones. So I kind of forgot all of these epigraphs. But no worries. I like the last.
I don't know if 48 was that important, but okay.
Oh my god.
48 was like a whole paragraph. The fuck.
Well, no. Wait, what? 48.
Well, he can see like how much it is on the.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
book,
it's
right?
a big ass fucking one. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
But
no
worries.
Anyways, yeah. So that was the 44 one. Did you think of anything, Darkness, or should we just move on to the chapter?
No, move on.
All right. So we start with Breeze's point of view, which we've actually been getting a lot of Breeze's point of view lately. As he watches Set's army retreat. Clubs is on the wall with him and says that the standoff will end once Straff realizes that the Koloss will do his work for him. Straff can pretend to begin retreating so that the Koloss will attack, and then he can go in and get rid of the remains of whichever weakened army is left over. Clebson says that they were dead the moment the first army arrived, and that they are just good at stalling. So what did you, because this is the kind of, we get this kind of idea repeated a lot during these chapters, but what did you think of this first kind of mention of it and Klebs's realization? What could happen now that Set is gone?
I mean, low-key makes sense, but I don't like the way that it may. Oh my god, it's because they explain why he says shit like that. But I hate that he says shit like that. You know, I mean, it makes sense that that's what would happen. You know.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I think it definitely makes sense, and it's a logical explanation. So, logical thinking.
So we then switch to Ellen's point of view. He was in his study with Ham and Spook. Ham says that Set lost 300 men, which is 30% of what was... Shush, Polo. 30% of his men in less than 10 minutes. Ham asks why she attacked Set, and Spook replies that Vin is loony. So... Ellen replies that he isn't sure why Vin did it, but that she had said she didn't believe the assassins were from Straff. Spook then mentions that Uncle Grumpy, aka Clubs, had his scouts out looking for Vin, but they hadn't been able to find her. Ellen thinks that he's worried about her being dead or injured. He also thinks about how there were reports of her fighting another Mistborn and wonders why she left Set alive. Ellen thinks that he feels like he isn't sure if he knows her anymore, but also that he needs her here with him because he loves her. Ham then mentions that... Shush! Kitty. Ham then mentions that Vin may be a liability and mentally unstable. He mentions the night in the first book when Vin shouted at the crew about them acting more like nobles. He doesn't say this part, but it was when she was like shouting like, you guys are more like nobles than ska type thing. And says it was for little reason. Ellen, however, replies that Vin is mentally stable and that he trusts that she has a good reason to attack Set. So what did you think of Ham's interpretation of Vin's outburst in the last book?
I don't know why he would look at it that way, like, considering that it's like factually accurate. You know, like they were acting like nobles when they shouldn't be, but okay.
Yeah, Kelsier kind of took it a different way than Ham has, because Kelsier was like, yeah, no, I get what you're talking about, and Ham's kind of like, she had little reason to yell at us, so I don't know if it's just because it's been like a year and a half, or what, but
he's like, you fucking psycho, like, what's happening?
What did you think, Mythic?
I mean, in all honesty, these last few chapters definitely made me look at the group as a whole in a negative light because they talk so bad about Vin. And
yeah,
Ellen.
I didn't like how Ham was talking about Vin here. I was like, well, fuck you, Ham.
Yeah, like, these people
Spook
need to
also,
like
Spook
realize
had a crush on her
that,
at one point, and he just calls her loony, and I'm like, that's a little rude.
Yeah, because she didn't take his advancements, I'm sure. But I mean,
no,
but,
it's like this whole.
He's the type of guy who calls any girl that doesn't date him a crazy bitch.
Yep. He's that type of guy who he walks up to women and he said, "Hey, can I have a hug?" Just so he can feel them up. Yep, that kind of guy. So that's the way this makes me fucking feel. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Because like Darkness said, they literally were acting like nobles.
They do. Like they weren't living
now,
like Ska.
Yeah, even now they're like, it's hard to see the world you're trying to protect and save when you literally are acting like the people you're trying to eradicate. Like,
right?
It's crazy to me, but like, just like I said, all of these last few chapters just made me see the fact that, like, honestly, God damn it, I forget his fucking name every time. Ellen's brother. Fuck. What's his
Zane.
name? Zane. It honestly made me feel like what Zane says, even in that last chapter. What Zane says actually has like some merit of like you put your trust in people way too easily. Because
it has merit except for in Ellen's case, which is the one he's trying to push the most.
Yeah, but like, I mean, she puts her trust in a lot of these people, and it seems as if these people are still trying to backstab her.
Yeah.
Whether they're actually trying to do so or it's just some actions the way that they seem. It's just scummy to me, and I'm like,
honestly, low key, if you think about it, most of what they did was like based on like what Kelsier wanted and their own benefits rather than in general.
I mean, they were parts of thieving crews in the underground. It's not that surprising.
Yes, it's not. But like,
they're not supposed to be the most morally sound people, technically.
Yeah, but the way I was seeing it, it's like it's almost as if these people have forgotten that Vin is the reason that they are free from the Lord.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, she literally freed y'all. Nobody would have been able to do what she did. And you guys do not give her the credit that she deserves for that.
Yeah.
Like, all you see is like a weapon to use and throw at something. And it's so
I feel like the only person who properly respects Vin in the crew is Sazed.
Yeah. 100%. I think Ellen. Well,
Ellen, I'm not counting he's part of the crew because he wasn't part of that originally. He's kind of like an outsider who was brought in by dating Vin.
Oh yeah, he's just a weak little bitch who defeated a Colossus,
Well, no, he's badass. But I'm just saying. I was saying as part of the crew.
Know that?
Oh yeah, do they know that?
Does the group?
I think they know. I don't know if they know exactly, but he brought back the coins and stuff. Like they've obviously talked about it.
But I'm saying like because. I wonder if they were told that he literally soloed a Colossus himself.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he doesn't feel like the type to brag about that sort of stuff, and he was by himself.
It's not dumb for him not to. Like,
I mean, yeah. Granted, it wasn't like the biggest Colossus or anything.
But he's still, I think like any Colossus.
They literally say that one single Colossus is like what, fucking
10 minutes or something.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, yeah.
It's crazy. But, I mean,
this man literally jumped on his back and went, mine.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know. They seem as if, honestly, I don't know if it was this chapter or whatever the other chapter is when they start talking about Ellen and shit. But like,
it's the other chapter with Dawson especially.
When we got to that point, I mean, we didn't get the thing yet, and I was hella on the whole Doxon, right? Doxon's the one that has like no. I let me say that's the one. I was hella on the side of Doxson being the fucking conjurer.
You know what's crazy?
100% after that. I was
yeah,
like,
we're gonna get to
whoa.
that.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
didn't even believe
bro.
it though, like myself, that he was the conduit, but I wanted it so bad because
Yeah, whole
I
back the way he's
didn't want him
talking.
to be the one speaking all that dumb shit, bro.
Yeah, I was like,
Well, yeah,
God
but as
damn.
they said previously, like Doxson hates like the nobility just as much as Kelsier, and he wasn't as close to Vin to kind of get that other perspective. Like, I think the only reason Kelsier ever rethought and like was nice to Ellen in the end was because of Vin and his closeness to Vin.
100%. Yeah,
And so
100%.
Doxson
Yeah,
never
but
had that. So he's
I
basically Kelsier if Kelsier never had that point of view.
I hate that he can't see the way that Kelsier saw things at some point
I
though.
know.
It's just
Even
like,
after a year of hanging out with him and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Anyways, but
it just irked me the way he talked
yeah,
about.
it doesn't put the crew in the best light.
Wait,
These chapters.
that's not even the best. Like, fucking the worst thing he said though. Oh
Sure.
my god.
We'll get to that when we get to that chapter.
Yeah. Okay.
So Ham then says that Vin should have had much more serious injuries when she was attacked by the thug at the assembly hall fight, since they both would have
Not
been
wrong.
burning pewter. Ellen replies
Yeah.
that Vin is special, and Ham says she is hiding things from them. The group then briefly mentions Kelsier, which I didn't think we really needed to go into. It wasn't super important. Ellen then brings up the Kolos army, and Spook throws out a coin that is made of wood and painted gold instead of being made of metal. Apparently these fake boxings were what the Kolos had been paid with, and they had gotten into Luthadel somehow as well, although they seem pretty easily recognizable as fakes. Ham wonders why the Kolos are wanting to be paid when the Lord Ruler never paid them, and Ellen thinks back on the Kolos telling him they're human. So how do you think this fake money made it into Luthadel?
Oh man, I didn't even think about that.
I was more interested in the fact that it was painted gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is because I had thought all of the coins were like copper or something, but apparently I guess there might be different types of boxings that are worth different denominations, maybe, because we definitely get copper ones. Because they note them as, I believe, copper when Vince's fighting with them at some point, but I guess there's also gold boxings and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't know how they got. Like, I can't think of any reason that we got in the city aside from the fact that maybe he sent people in to put it in there. But
Yeah, I
What
think
he said though, like,
they had a couple thoughts of maybe like Jassy tried to like pay like some ska or something with it because he didn't have enough money to pay people, but they weren't 100% sure how it got in.
I mean, it explains why he can, give all these Kolos fucking money.
Yeah,
It's all fake.
yeah, you just have to have some wood and just have someone carve it into the correct shape and then paint it.
Sure, that's not that hard, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, based on the fact that they look obviously fake, I'm assuming they're not like perfectly shaped like boxings are either.
Yeah. But I mean, what do you think the Kolos even noticed that shit?
No, the Kolos don't, but Ellen's like, I'm surprised they made it into Luthadel and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be pretty funny to see if like Kolos were hiding in.
I don't know how you'd hide a Kolos.
I don't know how you would hide one of these motherfuckers. They're huge.
They're huge, but also even if you hid one of the smaller ones that are like 5 feet, you would still like they're blue and easily enraged.
you know, for some reason, I still
Cloaks
picture
work
them.
real well.
I picture them as red.
No, they're blue with like red inside. From what I remember.
Yeah,
seeing
they have
pictures.
like just like how people are kind of like reddish inside because of blood. They're blue, but their skin's blue, and like sometimes if they're large,
technically blood inside is blue, but yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, like if like when you like expose someone's muscles and stuff, it's kind of like pinkish red.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're openly bleeding, it's red, like they are when their skin breaks.
They're breaking skin, guys.
So the three of them part ways, and Ellen begins walking down the hallway to try and go find Klebs and Breeze, but is stopped by a voice calling out to him. He notices a short figure in the shadows, which is Oriser. Because we don't know if that is not Oriser yet. Oriser says he thinks he found Vin. We skip to Ellen at the place where Oriser says he found Vin, and Ellen had only brought a couple of guards with him. Ellen notes that Vin is keeping secrets, but that he still trusts her. Ellen asks Oriser how he found Vin, and he says that he followed her that night and had seen the general direction she had gone and then used his dog senses to find her. Ellen finds Vin in a little lookout nook in the wall of a building which seems to have belonged to a thieving crew. Vin is looking through the people and fiddling with her earring. So were you surprised that Vin was in an old thieving hideout?
When they said that they had looked everywhere or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like nowhere to be found where like she usually was.
Mm-hmm.
I kinda had a feeling she was gonna go back there.
Go back to kind of
But
her roots,
yeah, and
her old safe
it
spots.
was either like I had a couple of options. It was either where she defeated the Lord Ruler or whatever, right?
Mm.
Like the exact same spot, or like back there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You just go back to your roots, you know.
Or
She's
where she
she was
found
obviously,
the book in the first place. That's the top three I had.
Mm.
she's obviously sulking, obviously because you know
Yeah, I think
shit
she's
happened
obviously
and
upset and kind of like
Mhm.
regressing in her thinking a little bit here, and so I think if from like the beginning of the first book, she kind of noted that like these little peephole lookouts were like her safe spots that she would kind of hide in when she was scared or like avoiding Kamen.
But yep, 100%.
I forgot Carmen existed.
Kamen, not Carmen.
Yeah, I
No,
forgot
that's
Kate.
Carmen.
I forgot Cayman existed for sure. That's how it's said in the audiobook,
Is
by
it
the way.
Cayman?
Cayman.
Okay,
Ew.
like the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. I don't know if it's spelled that way, but yeah.
It's not. It's spelled Camon.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh yeah.
So Ellen asks if she's okay, and Vin replies that she used to think Kamen was a Kamen was a terrible man,
Yeah, it
but that
doesn't matter.
she doubts he killed as
You've
many
already
people.
stated.
Yeah, as many people in his life as she did that night. She then tells Ellen about the night her mother gave her the earring, and that her whole life has been about death.
Oh
Ellen
god. Oh Jesus. This earring got me fucking down a fucking rabbit hole later.
Oh.
Don't worry though, keep going. We'll go down that rabbit hole, I'm sure.
Yeah, so Ellen tries to comfort Vin by saying he's sure she had good reason for killing those men, but Vin says she didn't. She just wanted to hurt them and scare them away so they'd leave Ellen alone. Ellen replies that they were enemy soldiers, but Vin states that that was the exact same excuse Kelsier used for killing nobles and that Kelsier had scared her. Vin eventually says she needs to leave Luthadel and go north to Terrace. She asks if Ellen would go with her, but he says he can't leave the city even though they rejected him. So what did you think about Vin and Ellen discussing having to potentially go separate ways here?
Quick
I
question.
agree. Go ahead.
I know I've asked this multiple times, but I keep forgetting.
It's okay.
What's her earring made out of?
Copper. Or no, I think it was it copper or
It's not-
bronze?
one of the two.
I think it
thought
might
it was
be
copper, but
bronze.
it could be bronze. Yeah, it could be
I think
bronze.
it's
Honestly, bronze would
bronze.
make more sense.
This doesn't help. You guys need to decide.
I'm
what
double
it's
checking
made
here.
It is one or the other.
I'm pretty sure it's bronze.
Because I'm pretty sure I thought you just said it and I glossed over it in my mind.
I said she was fiddling with her earring. I don't know if I said what the metal was.
I mean, it is one of the two of those, though. I just don't remember which one it was. It's probably bronze, though. Bronze makes more sense. You would put copper in your ears. So, what does bronze do? Because that'll tell me what it.
I want to know what bronze does in. I'm always gonna forget this. What it does in Furchem.
Oh, at Farrakami? I mean, I have the fucking list. I just gotta go fucking pull it back up.
You need to pull
she's
this shit
looking
out every
she's
time.
yeah, I know. I should honestly just do that every time, and I never do.
It's bronze, yeah. It's a silver-plated bronze stud.
Bronze is wakefulness in Farrakami.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It is secret.
Bronze reveals allomantic pulses in allomancy and stores wakefulness in feruchemy.
Which wakefulness was what again?
Wakefulness just means you don't have to sleep.
Staying awake. Yeah, staying awake. Okay.
What does silver do now?
We don't believe silver does anything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything here for silver. I have silver later, but like in what might be a thing, but like I don't have anything for Farrakami because I do a whole Farrakami
robot or some shit.
Yeah, I can't figure out the Farrakami thing honestly. Like what? Like I kind of figured out Allomancy has like it's polar opposites or whatever thing where like it's the whatever the fuck, what's it called? The alloy and the direct metal, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, they don't seem, I think, as related as the allomancy ones are.
I got a whole fucking full blown theory later here, though. Oh.
I would have been feeding Sage so many metals for.
Feeding him or just giving them to him? He puts.
No, I would have force fed him.
Oh, okay.
Because like bronze is the alloy of copper, and copper hides allomantic pulses. Bronze reveals allomantic pulses, but with feruchemy, copper stores memories and bronze stores wakefulness, which I don't see how they're really that similar.
Exactly. Like that doesn't
They don't
make
really have
sense.
the opposite thing like Allomancy does. They just all have their own thing.
I can't figure out what the I couldn't figure out what the fucking conjoining thing was. And
I don't know
stuff,
if they
so
have a
like,
conjoining thing in Ferochemy technically.
so it's hard for me to figure out what the other ones might
Yeah.
do. The ones that we haven't been told if they actually exist. You know,
Because
I wonder what
It's easier to
Duralumin
guess
does.
Allomancy.
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was gonna say. Because we also don't even know what the other one does. Whatever it's called. Fucking.
Wait,
I
and
don't even
then
know.
1 second. Was
Yeah,
lead wasn't on?
They don't put aluminum in the chart at the end of this book in the Ars Arcanum. And it says that it also doesn't have duralumin in here at the back. It does have malitium, which is the one I thought was electrum, but it says unknown for ferochemy.
Oh,
you're
that's
kidding.
good to know. Because the last fucking book we read that had an unknown had a fucking shit ton of powers or whatever.
Yeah, so generally what they do with the Ars Arcanum, it seems like with the Mistborn ones, is they only give you what you've learned early on or from the previous book if it's a second or third book, but they won't give you what's important to this book until the next book. So I believe the next book I haven't checked, but it probably has some more details.
You
about
think if I open the next book, Ars Arcanum, I'll literally have the knowledge of gods?
I'm curious.
I mean, I would assume. I mean, I could probably do so with the fucking thing, but whatever.
Do it. Open it right now.
I'm not doing that. I don't have the other book, but I have the audiobook, so. And at the very end of the audiobook, it does go through all of that.
Yeah, so it does have aluminum and duralumin at the end of the Ars Arcanum in the third book.
But
for
not
Hero
for
Ages.
Ferochemy. Oh, okay. Oh, for Ferochemy?
They don't have it for Allomancy or Ferochemy in this book, because as I said, they're important ones. In the next book,
they have it for.
I'm not going to say if it says unknown or not, but they don't have it even. But they do have it at least listed as metals.
Okay.
Okay, but is it in Ferochemy?
Yeah, I just.
I can't tell you. It'd be spoilers potentially.
Oh, so they do have.
Would it though? No. Seriously, think about it this way, right? Would it actually be spoilers to tell us that it does have it? Because then, I mean, we already assume it. We already assume it does.
You don't
in the
learn
next
in the
book too.
It says unknown.
Okay.
Because you're not supposed to know by the start of that book. So I don't remember if it tells you or not during the book.
Probably learn about those metals in that.
I think in Era 2, it tells you in Era 2. I think what those metals do for Ferochemy.
Because
I don't know if we learn it in that.
In all honesty, I already have the assumption that if it's a metal in Allomancy, it's a metal in fucking Ferochemy.
Yes, no matter what, they both have the same metals.
Yeah, it's a given. So duralumin and aluminum do something in Allomancy, they're going to do something.
Yes, they always do something. It just we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, Electrum also does something.
Shush! I thought that was so bad. It keeps coming back to haunt me.
I mean, it's okay. But yeah.
Anyways, so back on track here.
Oriser, go on, because I really want to get to my theory.
Yeah, I know. Oriser walks over to the entrance of the cubby and says that Ellen's guards are growing restless. Finn then tries to give Ellen the ATM from Zane, which she apparently had puked back up because she never used it.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Knowing later things.
Yeah. But
he's a fucking nasty bitch looking.
But he says to keep it in case she needs to fight Zane, and that he can't sell it anyways because it's not worth enough of what they would need. And that people would also just keep thinking they have the ATM then, if he suddenly has an ATM out of nowhere. Vin then puts the ATM bead in Oriser's shoulder. And then chapter...
What was the name of the ones that stick metal in their fucking bodies? I can't remember the fucking name of them.
The Inquisitors?
Thank you. Alright. Go on, sorry.
Yeah. Chapter 45. The epigraph is, I know what I have memorized. I know what is now repeated by the other world bringers. And so, at first I was like, I have nothing to mention about this, but my question is, why do you think they've emphasized what is now repeated by the Worldbringers? He doesn't say the prophecies that are repeated by the Worldbringers, he says what is now repeated by the Worldbringers.
So, I'm assuming that is because it goes part on part with how they talk about Alendi fitting the prophecy too well. So I'm assuming they're adjusting all his feats and stuff that he does to the image of the hero of ages that they're trying to bring up or whatever.
So you agree, Mythic?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So for this chapter, we have Say's point of view as he and Tyndall continue to pore over their notes. Tyndall had found a mention of the prophecy briefly in a biography, due to now knowing that Rabzine is another language's word for the hero of ages. Although it isn't new information, Sayes thinks that the wording may be important. The two get into a slight conversation about religion for a moment, since Tyndall still isn't big on teaching people religions, but Sayes replies that they are expressions of hope. Tyndall asks if Sayes believes in the gods he teaches about, and Sayes replies that he believes they deserve to be remembered. Tyndall then asks if Sayes really believes Vin is the hero of ages, and Sayes replies that he has yet to make up his mind. Tyndall is frustrated that Sayes believes in this and states that it's unlikely that they would be in the same house as the hero of ages. She also said that last time he was thought the hero of ages was found, it went wrong and the Lord Ruler took over. Tyndall says that she is interested in prophecies because the ancient people had information on this danger that is now coming again, and they had put it into their legends, but doesn't believe they were actually prophecies. So what did you think about Tyndall and Say's different perspectives on religion?
It's to be expected, in all honesty. They both have looked at history in a different light, in one way or another. So, I mean, it would stand to reason that they probably don't see eye to eye, which is, I mean, great, because you should have somebody who doesn't see this the exact same as you, so you have something to bounce your ideas off of. But, I mean,
I was hoping that he would be like, you know what religion would fit you? This one.
I was kind of too, honestly. It would be funny.
I think he's too tired and too focused to do that at this point. Apparently they've been
That's
like
literally-
barely sleeping for a week.
That's
Yeah,
his
and
whole
apparently
like,
she keeps lying about getting lunch, so...
Sorry, what were you saying, Douglas?
I forgot.
Oh.
So Tyndall brings up Vin scaring off Set, but Sayes says he doesn't think it was a good thing and that they need to complete their studies by tonight. Suddenly, Tyndall finds a transcription of the rubbing that they had copied with the bottom corner ripped off. They then find a second copy of the same transcription that also had the bottom corner ripped off. Neither had left the room for more than a couple minutes, but Tyndall says she may have gone to the bathroom while Sayes slept last night. She can't remember. So they lay the two papers over each other, and the tears are completely identical, impossibly so. They hurriedly begin to search through their notes and find that they had 4 total transcriptions of the rubbing, and all of them had been missing the exact same part. Tyndall also finds a paper that had the same sentence in the middle of the page, and that middle section had a large torn hole in it. They hurry to check the rubbing Sayes had done, which was in a locked chest with the key around his neck, and the same sentence is again torn away. Sayes recalls the sentence of the rubbing from his middle mind, and states the sentence removed is, Alendi must not reach the Well of Ascension, for he must not be allowed to take the power for himself. So who or what do you think tore this sentence from these sheets of paper, and why do you think they chose this sentence specifically?
I mean, it's so easy for me to just blame it on gods, but...
I was gonna say that, and
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
so
what
easy
if
for me
it's
to
like
blame
what if it's like part of the prophecy changing? Because at first I was like, what the fuck is happening? This is some voodoo type of shit, you know?
Yeah, because it's a locked box. He has a key around his neck. How the fuck did you get it open?
It's also, how are the papers torn exactly the same when,
Yeah.
like, to the exact, like littlest atom almost? It feels
No,
like.
because in my mind, when I first read that, I had to double read it because I was like, what the fuck is it melting? You know, like on the spot. And then they whipped out that one paper that was like torn right in the middle, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Okay, something's real off here. You know, like I said, it's easy to blame God in general. Like just whatever the God is, whether it be the 2 other ones that we were talking about before, or if it's like a different God completely. But it's so easy just to blame that because, like you said, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that the prophecy changing thing would be a really cool idea that Darkness brought up. Because the prophecy is changing for Vin, maybe it's rewriting history.
Maybe it's like somebody with like soothing powers or whatever.
Maybe.
What do you mean? You
'Cause they
think,
could just,
like,
like-
soothe them to, like, sleep or something?
Not just that, like even if Tyndall did get up to use the restroom, like what if she's like just like out of it, you know? Like she's like, I'm so fucking sleepy.
Yeah, like
what's
you
happening?
soothe them so much that you can just like slip past and
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I'm
They're
Come
just, like,
saying.
so
unnoticed, yeah.
unfocused and out of it, yeah.
Yeah, but then I was like,
they also said they're tired. So you know.
who has the fucking skill to just fucking cleanly rip the same like amount of paper. like not even I. Like,
Yeah, it's the combination, not just like the one thing of someone like somehow getting
the only
into
other
box.
the only other thing I could think of would be like some tool being used kind of idea. Like if they had like a specific tool that like they could just put on and like it measured. Okay, this is like 3 inches of the page or whatever, and then you just clip it, kind of idea, and it takes it away. It would become if they're all the paper are the same, it would become the same rip. But I mean, the fact that they said a rip.
Yeah, it's like a jagged. It looks like someone like actually like tore it like with their hand or something. It seems
which
like.
made me think, okay, well that's a little weird because
Do you think
even
it
if
was
you laid the
like
papers together,
cut?
you would not be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have called it like a cut or like or a slice or something if it was like
I'm
scissors
just
or blade.
In my head, I'm going through so many things right now. I'm like, what if it was an inquisitor? Like, what if they're trying to hide whatever it is they found over there?
I mean, they have said there's apparently an inquisitor in the city somewhere, but how would he have gotten
that's
into
what I was,
the place?
That's what I was
they have Marsh in the city somewhere.
And I was also thinking, what if it's like that mist thing,
Or the mist spirit?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That'd be pretty.
Because like, what if it's like this is like not gonna happen anymore? You know what? We just
All right, there we go. We're good. All right, I can leave now.
What?
Yeah, just
no.
I can leave now.
Y'all just get back to sleeping.
Yep. All right, bye.
If you sleep.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit, she's coming back. All right, let me soothe her as she walks in the door again.
Okay.
Or can the mist spirit just like pass through walls because it's just like mist?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if it just seeps inside?
Just waits till she leaves for the bathroom, slips in, and then slips out.
You can go through the toilet.
Oh my god.
What is it, Moaning Myrtle? But yeah, so suddenly a Vin then appears at the window, which startled Saze and Tindwell. Saze asks if Vin has seen anyone around this room since someone had been going through their stuff, but Vin says no. Vin then asks if she can speak to Saze, and Tindwell leaves the room. Vin asks Saze how she can
totally leaves the room.
Yeah, she does leave the room. She just doesn't go for lunch like she says she's going to.
Yep, I'm leaving the room. I'm going for lunch. Oh,
yeah, bye.
Bye.
So Vin asks Saze how she can know if she's in love. Saze says he's the wrong person to ask, but Vin insists he knows about
no,
everything.
No, he's not.
Saze asks her to describe how she feels about Ellen, and she says she wants him to be close and that she wants to be better for him. However, she also worries that he's scared or uncomfortable around her because he saw her kill that thug at the assembly hall. Saze says that Ellen hasn't seen much, if any, death, and was likely just horrified seeing it at all. He then says that Ellen fell in love with Vin and that she needs to let herself be loved. Saze also says she needs to trust Ellen enough to let him decide whether she is right for him.
So I agree.
Yeah. So Vin then asks, what if there's someone else, someone more like her? And she also says, please don't tell Ellen about that. Saze asks if she loves him, but she just responds saying that he's strong. Saze then becomes a little less impartial and says that Ellen is one of the best men, and asks if she can really find someone better than him. She then says she needs to make a decision and leaves. So what did you think about Saze and Vin's conversation?
I was like, oh my god, this love triangle is true.
I gotta
like seriously.
The thing is, I don't think she actually has feelings for Zane. I think she just is like, she's been so kind of
like me.
Yeah, she's kind of like, she feels like she isn't right for Ellen, and she's like, this is the person I should love, not really the person I do love.
100% I agree with that. But, I mean, even later, she does say that, so, like, that she does think he loves her.
Well, he says he loves her.
I know, but she's like, and I believe you, and I'm like, the fuck?
Bitch, what it? Oh my god! Oh, I hate this.
I do too. I hated it so much.
I mean, I loved this chapter only for the next part of it, but
yeah.
I get the fact that she was like, this dude is like me or whatever.
Yeah, like
I should love him or whatever. Like he's doing all this shit to show me that, like,
he cares.
Like, yeah, but low-key, like, what did he do?
Yeah, I mean, he
technically he used you, even though, like,
but
you
in
were
all
part
honesty,
of it.
yeah, in all honesty, if you look at it from her perspective, right, Zane is the only one who seems as if they are literally on her side all the way, like through everything. Yes, murder those people. We definitely need to go kill Set.
Yeah, I may be on Straff's side, but I'm gonna help you get Set because he's trying to kill Ellen.
Yeah, like he definitely played it perfectly
Yeah.
in that whole
Yeah,
scenario.
but the thing is,
And the only reason, go on.
you would
Sorry.
think with the way she was like brought up,
Yes, I agree
she
with
would like
that.
be so suspicious about it.
Yeah,
Well,
I
again,
agree
I
with
think
that.
she like a lot of like her good traits now are because of Kelsier, but also I think her like being able to trust Kelsier has I think given her a blind spot for people like Zane. Because like she even
So you're
says later
saying
like he
Mistborn.
reminds me of Kelsier.
Yeah, for supposed Mistborns. Yep.
Yeah,
so
like she's kind of got pros and cons.
I said we put her back into one of those steaming crews, bro. Exactly right where she was in the beginning.
Anyway, so Seize then walks into the hallway, or opens the door to the hallway, and Tinwell is waiting there. She says she would feel better if the city's Mistborn didn't have the volatile emotions of a teenage girl. Seize says that Vin is more stable than she seems, but Tinwell says she has raised 15 daughters and no teenage girls are stable.
Wait. I thought Vin made the comment. She's there.
No, Ellen makes that comment later. Vin does not.
Oh,
Vin
is it?
just leaves.
Oh, I thought it was Vin. Okay, maybe I'm wrong on when the chapter was. All right.
No, I think
That one fucking. I thought it was Vin because I was like, holy shit, she just did what fucking she did earlier.
Nope. Vin just leaves. Vin's too distracted. She doesn't even notice.
Because
I think because Tinwell actually says here that Vin has like she's has like a soft spot for Terrace people and or like a blind spot for Terrace people, and it's likely because of Sazed, which is why she didn't notice
probably.
Tinwell was there. Like she didn't even think that Tinwell
I
could be
found
listening
it.
in again.
I mean, I guess it makes more sense because I mean, I've been up for very long. So I read this book while I'm like half asleep most of the time. But so it makes sense that like I didn't realize it was Ellen and not her. But even now knowing that, or whatever, it makes it even funnier because like that's who she did it on.
Yeah.
Like she was like, "Oh yeah, you can tell your Mistborn to come in." How did you know she was there? Kind of idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it funny.
Yeah. But anyway, so Tinwell says she's raised 15 daughters and no teenage girls are stable. She then says that Sazed would have made an excellent father, which embarrasses him.
Did she raise them though?
I think it sounds like they potentially do raise them until they're old enough, until they're like of maturity or something, based on
That's
like her
cool.
comments throughout the book and this comment here.
Well, if they're kept in the like same sort of facility idea, where would they go?
Maybe. Yeah.
They're trying to be controlled,
Yeah, I think they're probably.
I mean, how are you going to rebel?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I do that a lot, but like low key, I was thinking if they did get sent out, right, whether it be to like reproduce themselves or whatever, like separately or like just in general to be separated, it would be a hell of a lot like harder to just keep them, in check. Because like, what if like the person taking care of them are like, taking advantage?
Giving them the illusion of freedom.
Not only that, but like, what if they take advantage of them? That's not part of the program, and accidents happen.
I mean,
like,
it is very interesting to note. So,
yeah,
I just didn't realize that she would have,
raised
taken
them
care of them.
Yeah, apparently she actually raised them through teenage years.
Which, like,
I mean, but granted, like Frank said, they're most likely in captivity.
Yeah.
So you probably aren't going to rebel that much, in all honesty. I mean, you might have a slight rebel, like you don't agree with something, but like I feel like you weren't given the world to like mold you into that person.
Do they kill them after?
We don't know.
Kill who? Wait, kill who?
Like after they can't like reproduce and shit, like do they kill the like women?
I mean, maybe, but like it's kind of hard to say that because Tinwell's not doing it anymore, as we know.
Yeah, but she escaped to the Keepers. Remember, after she was done her childbearing years.
Did she escape, or did she just kind of? They're like, all right, well, we're not gonna chase you.
It's not like you can reproduce
there is a whole terrace dominance still. So yeah.
You see, I need all these notes. How am I gonna make my own like?
We don't know much about the terrace people's lives outside of the Keepers.
How am I gonna make my own like empire to get taken down? Like how am I gonna control my own people? Like what about all the ska? Like I need to do that too. The fuck?
Oh my god.
As a noble person,
So anyways, we move on to
noble person.
to Ellen showing up. now that Vin's gone, and asks if he can speak with Sazed, and he dismisses Tyndall.
Again.
Yep.
Like, you can fuck off. No, wait, he did that shit. I was like, this bitch is not leaving again.
Sage easily guesses that this is about Vin, and Ellen says that he doesn't fully understand Vin, and that shouldn't at least one of them know what is going on in their relationship. Ellen worries that they are too different, but Sage says they are more similar than Ellen thinks, because Vin literally just had this conversation with him, but Ellen doesn't know that.
So funny.
Yeah, I know. He's just like, no, you're more similar than you think. He says He says they're both extremely competent, they were both oppressed by a family member, and both of them fought the Final Empire, and both worry more about what should be rather than what is. Sayson gives a metaphor about a lock and key and how they seem like opposites as one keeps things closed and one opens, but they are actually made for the same purpose and are useless without each other. So what do you think about Say's advice to Ellen?
Fucking wise-ass old man.
Well, he has all the cards, so...
I mean, it still just makes me feel like Sazed is a fucking god, honestly. Like, low-key a god. Like, you know, like he's a god in disguise or some shit.
As Tyndall said, Sazed would make a good dad. He's such a good guy.
Yeah, true. I agree with that.
He just needs to start adopting all of Tyndall's children.
Oh no.
Please no.
No.
Hey guys, I'm your stepdad.
I'm Dad.
Papa.
Gosh.
No, but I think my favorite moment of this like whole chapter is that moment when Ellen walks in and he's like, you're dismissed, right?
Yeah.
And she essentially just rolls her fucking eyes, bro.
She
You're dismissed. I'm like, whoa.
I pictured her just fucking like being like slam book, you know, like, oh fuck, again. But yeah,
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I was gonna be like, yeah, continue.
Okay. So their conversation then turns to the deepness, and Ellen asks if Sazed thinks it's returning, and Sazed replies that it has already returned and it is the mist. Ellen starts to ask a question about it, but then decides he can't focus on that right now. He calls Tyndall back in, knowing she's still outside the room, and then leaves.
Yeah.
I think he says like, you're just as bad as Vin.
Yeah. So when Sazed makes the comment that like, oh, it's like he's so adamant, right?
Well, I think him and Tyndall kind of just like both decided. They're like, yes, this makes the most sense after all of our research.
But like, I know I'm hesitating on it now because like, literally, I made this theory long ago, and now all of them are like, hey, it's this, and I'm like, man, you're just trying to throw us off now. Fuck. I'm like, it's gonna be something completely different. We're gonna all be like, look, you know.
So, Say says Tyndall did a good job with Ellen, and Tyndall replies that she did too good of a job, and if Ellen had been allowed to stay in control of the city, he might have been able to save it.
I agree.
They go back to their work, and Sayce notes that the word the prophecies use for the Hero of Ages is gender neutral. Sayce thinks that Vin and Ellen cannot be in the city when Luthadel falls, and begins writing some letters.
Get them out of the city, now!
So, chapter 46.
Wait, think about it, how it's the prophecy spoke of how they like raised cities and like brought them back up or whatever and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Technically, what happens with Vin and Zane, kind of a little bit of her fault for kind of like, you know, what's gonna happen.
I see what you mean,
but because like Straff didn't seem to want to do what they were thinking he was supposedly gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
apparently
had thought of the...
Yeah, and so Zane technically took care of that because he was gonna leave with Vin.
Mm-hmm.
So technically Vin is at fault there, so technically she also falls into that prophecy category. But yeah, anyway.
Mm-hmm. So chapter 46.
Pretty sure this is the chapter that I wanted.
The epigraph. It's very short. It says, the two are not the same, which in reference to the previous episgraph is pretty important, because he says that what he has memorized versus what the Worldbringers have now repeated are not the same. So what do you think, why do you think what Quan remembers and what the Worldbringers have as prophecies are different?
I already said it. The thing is, I don't know which one made up the things and which one didn't. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, which one is recognizing all his feats as, like, part of being the fucking Hero of Ascension or whatever. The Hero of Ages, Hero
I love
of
Ascension and Hero of Ages.
Uh,
The
and
Hero of
you know,
Ages is insane. Here's voices from God.
wait, I just remembered. I was thinking, you know, what he was talking when Vin was talking about how her mother did all this and that, right?
Yeah.
I think was it to Ellen or Zane? I don't remember,
She
bro.
was talking to Ellen
But
more recently about it. This episode.
I don't know if it's in the later chapter, if it's in already past. Cause
We've talked about it. She
mentioned it or
did while she
something.
was hiding in the little cubby hole. She tells Ellen about what happened with her mom.
Yeah, but
Her mother.
I had completely forgotten the fact that she hears voices.
Yeah, they said her mom was insane and hears voices. Yes.
Vin hears voices. Zane hears voices. Like, what's happening?
Well,
What's like?
so I just want to say about the Vin hearing voices. It might not be the same, or it might be, but Vin specifically hears Reen's voice as italicized in the writing. Zane hears God's voice as like actually someone speaking, like it's actually in quotation marks and not italicized.
I was gonna make that comment later, but yes.
Because Mythic had brought that up previously, I think, and I didn't bring this.
Okay.
I think I forgot to bring that up at the time.
Well, like,
so there may or may not be a difference. We don't know.
What if Reen is just fancy?
What if Reen's just fancy?
No. Yeah. It's definitely from the way I was looking at it, like I said, I bought the book, so I can look at it now. Because we see a lot of those things now that I don't get to see.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson's writings, he does a lot of things with like capitalization. If things are like set in quotations or italics, like if you want to really get into the details, it is sometimes better to read it.
Yep, but I saw that originally, and it started making me think about other things, which we can't get into till you reveal it later.
Yep.
So,
last thing, I just want to say that I'm hoping that that voice that Zane has is correlating to the voices that
Vin has?
Vin's mom heard.
Vin's mom. Oh,
yeah, because we've never had obviously a Vin's mom point of view, so we don't know if they were italicized or if they were technically written as if they were spoken out loud.
Yeah, I didn't have that fucking in my things. I'm just hoping that, because I listened to it, I didn't actually read the book itself. But I'm just hoping that my tired brain didn't jumble things up or something here coming up, because if it did, it's gonna fuck my whole theory up. But we'll see.
We'll see. So this chapter, we start with Breeze's point of view as he thinks about his childhood. He notes that the crew does not know of his noble upbringing and status, and he notes that the Scott underground intrigue is brutal, but the nobility intrigue is more abstract and more of a game. Apparently, young Breeze had found the brutality of the Scott underground refreshing compared to how the nobility acted. Breeze had thought that he could trust Kelsier's crew and that he didn't have to worry as much. However, he worries about the obvious conspiratorial letter he got from Sazed that stated he didn't need to talk to anyone else about this meeting that Sazed was inviting him to. As Breeze stands, he notes Allrian is sleeping in his bed and notes that he should feel worse about sleeping with her, but they'd likely all be dead soon anyways. Sazed then leaves the room. Why did I write Sazed leaves the room? Fucking Breeze leaves the room.
Sazed leaves the room. Oh,
he's like, fuck this shit, bro.
Oh, damn, man. I thought I was tired.
Breeze leaves the room and heads towards the room where Sazed had set the meeting. He sees two of Demo's guards standing outside the doorway and soothes away their relaxed state to make them anxious. One checks inside the room, allowing Breeze to see that only Sazed was inside. Breeze wonders if this is a trap by Ellen to see who would betray him, but thinks it's unlikely. He also thinks that if this had been anyone but Sazed, he would have gone to see Ellen first. Breeze thinks that his instincts tell him to run from the situation, but with how close Lucidel is to falling, he needs to take risks. So what do you think of Breeze's suspicions of Sazed's letter?
It makes sense if they didn't, like, you know, if they weren't all buddies, like, in the beginning, so, you know, it's not like they go to like tea every weekend or something.
It's not like they go out for drinks or whatever or anything. You know,
well, I
like
think
some other people.
I think Breeze is just used to like not trusting anyone. Like before this whole Kelsier screw thing, which is started 2 years ago.
Do you trust anybody?
No, but like he hangs out with that one dude. I forget his name.
Clubs, yeah.
Yeah, so like I mean, technically he still knows how to like trust people correctly or whatever, but. I mean, I feel like it's just because he didn't know him that well.
I mean, I feel like he doesn't trust people because he also doesn't trust himself.
It's very possible, yeah.
Like, That's why he hangs out with Breeze, because he knows Breeze isn't affected by his shit, and he'll call him out on it.
You mean
Which is
clubs.
funny as fuck. Yeah, whatever.
I do
Breeze
offer
calls
free.
Breeze out.
Yeah, yeah, no,
I
I
do
meant clubs,
offer
right.
free, unofficial, therapy. If
Counseling?
he wants
Oh.
to hit me up,
You might need to counsel yourself.
Look, I cope by helping others.
Uh, okay, that makes sense.
So Breeze enters the room and Sayes mentions that he's early. Breeze says he had to make sure it wasn't a trap. He had to make sure it wasn't a trap, as it was obvious it wasn't a simple meeting. Sayes is upset at how obvious it was. He's like, "Oh, I didn't realize that." It's just like so sad. Breeze suggests Sayes to get rid of the guards if he doesn't want to be so obvious. He also correctly assumes they're meeting like this to hide from Elend. Clubs then comes in, also telling Sayes to loose the guards, which Sayes quickly does. And Ham comes in a moment later, and Sayes confirms that the whole crew, excluding Vin and Elend, were invited to attend, which then he also mentions that Spook was also not invited. So why?
I wonder why.
So what did you initially think the reason was for Sayes not to invite Vin, Elend, and Spook? Did you have any theories?
Vin and Elend, I don't know about before. I'm sorry, I was gonna go through, but like I don't know. I don't think I had any assumptions beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But, I kind of completely dismissed the fact that Spook wasn't part of it, because, like, I mean,
I didn't dismiss that. I didn't dismiss that at all.
that is because I didn't care. Like, I genuinely didn't care that he wasn't there. So I was like, okay, there's only 2 people missing, But
poor Spook.
I was just thinking, like, I was because of their earlier conversations and stuff, how they were talking about Vin and stuff. I would assume that, like, I was assuming that it had to do with Finn and trying to, like, find a way to, like, expose that she's not that great anymore. Because I kind of just, like, my view on them just went down when they started. So I was like, what if these bitches are trying to overthrow her already? Like, I was thinking, what if they're worried that she's like the Lord Ruler now? But yeah.
This pissed me off.
So Doxson then enters the room, stating that Elend is no longer king and that he fell into the role by chance after they have like this whole talk about treason and everything, and he's like, he's not treason. Elend,
because he's not a king.
He's not king. Ham doesn't like though how Doxson speaks of Elend, so Ham will talk shit about Vin, but he likes Elend, whereas Doxson I think likes Vin better than Elend.
Doxson don't like shit in general.
But Doxson says he just wants to try to keep together this kingdom that Kelsier left to them. He doesn't really care about anything else. They continue to argue until Breeze sues them a bit. However, they again begin to argue about all of this, and Breeze has to sue them really harshly until they both startle as if slapped.
Pause. I do want to point out the fact that he just quote-unquote wants to keep the kingdom together that Kelsier left behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. We'll just keep that in mind until a couple of sentences later.
Okay. But yeah, because he's just like, because I think Ham at one point is just like, you're just jealous that you didn't end up being king instead of Ellen, and he's like, I just want to keep this kingdom together that Kelsier left behind. It's this whole big, like, stupid rant between Doxson and Ham that was just like, there's not even anything interesting enough to really, like, write out too much about it. Like, they're just being annoying idiots.
Yeah, and I love the way Breeze handled this.
Yeah, Breeze just, like, slaps him down with a harsh soothing. He, like, numbs him. He's like, fuck you guys. Pay attention to Sayes. He called the meeting. So Breeze and Clubs then explain how Straff won't attack because he can let the Koloss slaughter the city for him and then come in at the end and look like the hero who is saving what is left of the city. Some options of giving Straff and Jastes the city get thrown around, but they wouldn't work, and Clubs says all they can do is fight and die. Ham asks what the point of it all was then, and Sayes says that someone has to start things. Sayes says it could take centuries, but if the Ska are to ever rule themselves, they need to see people like Kelsier and the crew trying to rebel and move forward. So do you agree with Sayes that it was naive to think that everything could be changed so quickly, and that it will take a long time before the Ska can properly be their own people?
Wait, I'm sorry, say it again. Do I agree with Sayes that he says this?
Yeah, do you kind of agree with Sayes that he's just like, it's not going to be like a quick, simple fix?
Yes.
That everyone...
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I agree in general, because, like, nothing is just, oh, hey, we did this and it fixed everything, Yeah. It takes time. Everything takes time, and you have to work at it constantly.
Yeah,
And it is a job.
Yeah, they basically have to be the same as Kelsier. They need to sacrifice themselves for the cause, but it's not going to be anyone probably anytime soon who actually makes the big changes. And like the Scott aren't going to be their own people or their own nation for a long time.
And I mean, if you threw somebody in charge now, you could overthrow them later because they're not the Lord Ruler.
Yeah, which I think is what a lot of them were saying about like Set or Penrod.
Yep.
It's like just let them take over, and then we'll just overthrow them in a year or two.
We'll gather our power, and we can actually fight this fight. You know, we couldn't fight the Lord Ruler by ourselves, but we can definitely fight a normal human being.
Right.
Like,
a lot more manageable.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna get power and then they're all of a sudden gonna become gods or anything.
What did you think, Darkness? Did you agree with Sayest?
Yeah. Oh shit. So here's what was happening while we were talking. You guys were talking. I was thinking about the question, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense or whatever. Wait, and then I slowly started branching off into different things because you guys kept talking, right? No, but it's not a good sorry moment. It's like I kept thinking about what you guys were talking about, and I was like, in my mind, I think I would have let Set take over the city.
I don't know who it was. I think maybe it was Ham or someone who wanted that at one point. Someone had mentioned that in a previous episode.
Probably Ham, honestly. Ham's an asshole.
I don't know, but I would have let him take over, and then I would have overthrown him after the armies, back the fuck up. But I do think that Says is right, and thinking back to the efforts it took for just the Scott to even fucking consider a rebellion in the beginning, it took a man essentially becoming a fucking god,
Yeah, but again, they were used to being repressed by a god. So if they're only oppressed by a normal noble, their opinions might change a lot easier over time.
Yeah, I mean, especially if that dude's an asshole, which most of these people are. So.
So say
yeah, I don't know. I saw them as really stubborn though. So
yeah, I agree.
So Seizen says he had thought for a while that the city would fall, although he hadn't known exactly how. However, he thinks that some people need to survive, and that is why he had called the meeting. Clubs, Ham, and Doxson all say they won't leave, although Priest asks if he can volunteer, and when Say stutters, he says it's okay, he already knows who needs to go. The people who weren't invited to the meeting. Seizen says the reason he invited them all to this meeting was to discuss how to convince Vin to run from the fight at Luthadel. Ham says Ellen will have to go as well, as she won't leave him, which Sayes agrees to. Sayes suggests sending Tinwil and Spook with them as well. The group agrees that these four are the best choice. Do you agree that these four are the best to leave the city?
100%.
They are.
Spook wasn't here.
I'm just saying, at that point, when they named them, right? In my head, I was like, "Hey, she's gonna go to the Well of Ascension. Spooks is gonna get stabbed." I even said it. I was like, "This motherfucker's gonna get stabbed."
Yep, you did. I thought you were talking about something else. Yep.
No, but that. Nah, I was like, and then in my mind, I was like, okay, the image of him getting his eyes replaced or some shit
or slashed out, and then him using his tin or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And then I was like, what if it's what if it's Tyndall taking samples from the fucking lake, right? But
Tyndall was like, I must discover what this metal lake is. Stabbed.
We just see her fucking
we are keepers. Bending. We must get knowledge.
But
I'm twitching in my chair because I really am hoping that what I remember hearing is right, and I could get to my point.
Okay, go on.
So the group then begins discussing how if they convince Ellen that the city is still in for a long siege, that he may go with Vin to try to find the Well of Ascension in hopes of the power there helping them. Breeze thinks that he'll have to convince Sayes to let Allrian go with the group as well, but that things feel less difficult to deal with knowing the youngest members of the crew will survive. Do you think they'll be able to convince Ellen to leave?
Yes.
I think they can. I also think that they won't succeed though, even if they can do it, because Ellen is stubborn as fuck. I feel like they'll just I feel like
they also don't know that Vin and Ellen have kind of already had this talk, and Vin seems willing to go with him.
That's in the beginning. I was like, "What the fuck is happening? They're doing all this meeting for what? They're literally Vin is about to leave, bro. But in my head, I was like, okay, I feel like he's gonna have to leave, not voluntarily. You know what I mean?
So we oh, sorry.
like kidnapping. Anyway,
Yeah.
We then skip over to
Vin, as she stares at Critic Shaw. She can hear the thumps of the mist spirit and the louder thumping that was growing more demanding. As she walks towards Critic Shaw, she thinks about how she had killed the Lord Ruler because she hadn't acted like Kelsier. She moves through the tunnel-like corridors until she reaches the chamber where she had first fought a Steel Inquisitor. Vin thinks that she's been feeling a kinship with the Lord Ruler, and thus she had come to where he had built a small home to remind himself of his past. The floor of the room had been torn up searching for the ATM, but it was otherwise intact. She thinks about how the Lord Ruler had to make a choice, to either stay and be a pastoral villager or become what he had ended up becoming. He had done what he thought he needed to. She thinks that her choice is more mundane. To be with Ellen, who brings her happiness and is the one she wants to be with, or Zane, who represents what she feels she needs to become. She then leaves as the room had no answers for her. What were your thoughts on Vin's uncertainty about her decision here?
most people would be uncertain about leaving shit behind, But
repeat the question.
What were your thoughts on Vin's uncertainty about her decision here?
Oh, bro. Oh my god. Vin is just like weird.
It really bothered me when I first read this book that Vin even considered being with Zane. I'm like, what are you fucking doing, Vin?
Yeah, bro. Like,
didn't bother me at all until after.
There's so many reasons, right? You don't even know that much about Zane, right?
Right.
That's one. You haven't gone through shit with Zane.
I feel like one of the few reasons that she actually wants to trust him is not just because he's Mistborn, but because he's related to Ellen and looks like Ellen. I feel like that's
what I was thinking too.
I feel like that's part of why she trusts him.
Yeah,
I mean, he also has saved her.
He has, but for his own gains, although she hasn't fully realized
that
he's completely selfish.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to think about it, her perspective of it. He has saved her. He has helped her numerous times. In her vision of who he is, it's like him sparring with her is like the whole, trying to make her stronger in some aspect. So she's probably seeing him in a light that,
he's
is obviously better.
Information about Straff, and what she doesn't know are lies about Set.
But the thing is, that as a standalone, yeah, that's great, right? Like, she's awesome or whatever. But you also have to think about the fact that she's comparing, like, what she feels for him because of what he's done with Ellen. Yeah, that's like reinforced there for like so long. Like,
but you also have to look at the fact that, like, you see it much more clearly later, but like that, Zane is manipulating all of this around her to make her feel as if Ellen is like not as inclusive in who she is as he actually is, and like seeding that doubt in her mind. So she's obviously going to start feeling, well, maybe I'm not right for this person. Maybe I, need to distance myself from him, and kind of.
I think at this point it's also been like 3 to 6 months of him doing this, like slowly working on her.
Yeah, it's just, I find it so dumb because Ellen loves her as.
I know.
Yeah,
like,
but
he loves both sides
her
of
as
her.
a noble woman.
Yeah,
right?
he loves both sides, whereas Zane only loves her Mistborn side. Which
it's
is
not just both sides.
Her.
He loved her as a noble woman. He loved her when he found out she was Ska. And
he loved her
Mistborn.
when he thought she was just trying to steal from him, when he thought he was just a thief. He loves the person behind her, not just what she is.
He did track her with a fucking person, but okay.
I'm sure she likes her behind.
Well, he thought that she was faking herself, and then he's like, "Oh, she's not."
She was.
Well, she kind of was, but I don't know.
She was. She was definitely fake.
But still.
He's not wrong. But go on.
Yeah.
So
we then switch to Zane's point of view.
This is where I wanted to be.
He wakes up to a tent spike being pounded. He burns steel and pewter, knowing that he always takes metal before sleeping, even though he knows it'll likely kill him one day. And then he flips out of his cot as he hears the tent being split open. God screams for Zane to kill them as Zane sprays coins through the tent at the men on the other side. The men scream in pain. Zane then slices open the tent and also grabs a vial of metals he keeps under his cot. He drinks the metal and thinks that he had expected Straff to try to kill him a lot sooner than this. Zane changes his clothing and gets a bag of coins, which he tosses at a man checking tents, who apparently Zane had been paying to keep an eye out for people approaching his tent tonight. The man was to pound on a tent spike to warn Zane if anyone was approaching. So were you surprised that Straff tried to kill Zane already, or were you expecting it?
No, I expected him to try to kill him. Yeah, he did say, I need to kill that man. So, of course it's going to happen.
Yeah. Did you like his
Why?
little plan to keep an eye out for that?
Pretty much. I was like, it's gonna happen eventually. I was more surprised of the later thing where he didn't murder his own father. I'm like,
Yeah, we'll
oh,
get to
okay.
that.
I'm like, okay. I mean, like, this man just tried to kill your ass, and you're like, nah,
I
Alright, go
I'll
ahead.
do
really
it
should have.
again.
I really should have expected the fact that he drinks metal before fucking bed, bro.
Yup.
I'll die anyways, so who
It's
cares?
like, I'm gonna die
Yeah,
one day. Might as well
like,
do it.
Okay.
but also, why don't they just like grind up metal to dust and just pack more of it into vials?
I'm pretty sure it is in tiny flakes or dust.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure,
But
but
it's
No,
it's
but, like,
it has to be in like a water solution so that it's easy to drink down.
yeah, but like it usually sounds like they're like swallowing beads or like
no,
No, only
ATM is the
ATM
only
is in
bead.
beads. It's just
Yeah,
flakes of metal in water.
they literally do talk about how they
no,
flake off metal.
yeah, but like I meant like like that fine dust, like sort of like
Oh
sugar.
yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yes, but they do say that they flake it off, which I mean, I guess you could see that as a bigger piece, I guess, than if you ground it down into like a powder almost. But like I feel like they probably did that a long time ago or something and figured out that it doesn't work as well or something to that extent, and
You think
then
so?
so they flip. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty obvious thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe it's
Like,
because like it's so ground up, it kind of like disintegrates the components of like the
hmm
alloys.
especially if you have to put it in water and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you put flakes in water, they're not gonna
I just
disintegrate as bad.
I just wanted to jam pack those vials like sand.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like I said, it sounds logical.
This is an example of what one of them is ATM and the rest is like normal metal in vials.
Ew. I mean, yeah. Yay, powers.
Yeah, because that it would be full
That's
of
just
water. So I
nasty.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense. So go on, because I want to get to the part.
Yep. So Zane walks over to Straff's tent and cuts his way in. Straff is waiting for him. God tells Zane to kill Straff, and Straff tells Zane he has hidden ATM where only he knows of, and he will give it to Zane. When Zane doesn't respond, he says he'll name Zane his heir tomorrow. Zane then says the city is Straff's and that he can pretend to retreat and let the Koloss rampage before coming in to save the day. Straff asks about Vin, and Zane says Vin will be leaving with him. Straff asks why Zane isn't killing him, and Zane replies that a man shouldn't kill his father. Were you expecting Zane to kill his father?
Yes, murder this man, please.
I was confused because like I mean, there's situations where like it's okay, but we're not gonna get into that.
He tried to kill you.
Essentially, yeah. Like,
Murder his
like,
ass. Murder.
He treated you like a beggar in your own house, abused
Actually,
you a
no, what the
lot,
fuck?
like tried to kill you.
Y'all are literally skimming over the gifts he's literally just trying to give him. He's like such a great dad. Do you not see that?
Obviously.
Honestly, I think Zane gave him more gifts in that scenario than he gave him. But sure.
So Zane then leaves and goes to a tree where he had hidden his mist cloak, which he had found too precious to wear because it was a gift from Straff, who he loves despite everything. He also,
Ew.
in the mist cloak, has vials of metal and ATM. Zane then feels his chest where a lump was just above his heart. He often found himself forgetting it was there. He thinks that the real reason he doesn't wear cloaks is because he doesn't like how it feels rubbing against the spike that where the back of it sticks out of his back. Were you surprised that Zane has a spike?
Yes, and it gave me so many fucking theories. Oh my god.
So yeah, Zane has a spike through his chest. I think it says the back goes out by his shoulder blades.
Zane is so we now have an Allomancer Ferrochemist. Now we're gonna have a fucking Inquisitor Allomancer that like oh, and I was like, okay, so did the spike give him his Allomantic Mistborn powers, or did he? Oh, it was so aggravating to me. I was like, and then the later battle, I was like, no, just rip it out of him.
So
no.
God then tells
I have
Zane.
a whole theory.
Yep.
I have a whole theory on fucking what all this means. But go on.
I'm so confused how she didn't like see it.
So he says it's easily hidden by his clothing. Like it barely
Easily.
sticks out. Like it's
No, but like with the allomantic sight thingy or whatever.
well because it's through his flesh.
Yeah, so she can't. The
yeah,
element
but she
doesn't
literally
work on
pulled
that.
metals out of like somebody's flesh
Yes,
before.
yes,
Like,
but she
fuck?
had.
Yeah, but she
the
said she
myth
hasn't been
to
able to
help
do
her.
that since. because it was the
Yeah,
mist
she's
that
had the
helped her.
mist that helped her. Yeah, and she couldn't even do that in the fight.
She's only been able to do it the one time against the Lord Ruler. She can't even. You can't even see
We haven't
metal.
figured
when
out
it's in
why.
someone.
We haven't figured out why she can't replicate it yet.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think you don't even with like the, like you don't even really see it. And I think even if she saw like metal like potentially on him, she wouldn't think as much about it. But I think you.
You really think what?
I think maybe I don't think you can even see it. Like I'm trying to think if his steel sight like lets you even see like if something's
that's what I'm
through
saying.
someone.
Like I'm pretty sure it just let you it can let you see metal and stuff. So
I'm not sure if it lets you see metal that's in someone though, because I'm not sure. Because I think that's the whole point of putting the ATM bead in Orizer is not just that they can't pull it out, but that they can't even see that the metal bead is inside of his shoulder. I think the lines only point to things you can pull on.
a quick question.
Did we get the name, like the metal type that he says he has is steel, right? He said he has a steel spike in him. I thought
double
it
check.
did.
I
wasn't
feel like he
100% sure.
just says it's a spike, but I'll double check if it says.
Okay.
It's like a fucking ATM spike.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Also, read about where his heart thumped.
Do you remember if, like, in that first book we read, Warbreaker or whatever? Do you remember if the?
It does not say what metal it is.
Okay. I forgot what they're called. Do you remember if they coated their bones in metal, or if it was like rocks?
In Warbreaker?
Yeah.
He said those not the normal lifeless, but the whole thing was that Vasher, the new lifeless, he could make lifeless out of either stone or metal.
Okay. I was just wondering what would happen if you coat like bones in metal.
Because you could coat because I think you still had to use a skeleton, but you could coat them in like stone or metal. And so if you coat the skeleton in metal, in like a metal statue, you could make it a lifeless.
Yeah, but I was just wondering what would happen if you coat metal, like bones in metal, and then give them to like a fucking conjurer. I need to get in this like world and just experiment.
That's another question you could ask Brandon Sanderson sometime.
Yeah, it would be really interesting, especially if we go to DragonCon. You know, but did they when we talked about Steel Inquisitors, right? When Steel Inquisitors were mentioned, the only thing that the only material spike that they talked about were the ones in the eyes, which were steel, right? I believe, because they're Steel Inquisitors.
Yeah, they're Steel Inquisitors, so I think we know that they have a lot of spikes. We learned later.
Yes, but the ones that are in their eyes.
I think the ones in their eyes are just steel. Yeah.
I think this is what they mentioned, but they never mention if they're all steel, right?
Or do they actually mention that they're all steel? I feel like they mentioned that there's.
No.
The only time I could think that would happen was in the fight, in the very end, the very last fight.
I don't think they say they're all steel. I don't remember if they specify if they're different or if they just don't specify. But I don't think there is a specific thing that says they are all steel.
Okay, well, because the only reason I asked is because I now have a new list of fucking my Steel Inquisitors and the powers that they might get from all of these.
No, because if y'all remember, If y'all remember, I've always asked what if there were different metals for each spike, and y'all were like, that's a big theory or whatever. But
it was, and now it started making me think.
So I'm assuming they didn't at all confirm it.
Yeah, I feel like they just didn't say. I think they just said there was a bunch of spikes, but I don't think they specified what metals.
I gotcha. Well, I now have the thought that, like Darkness said, that maybe they're all different types.
Imagine if they had Durlumin spikes.
Imagine if they have Electrum spikes.
Oh, my.
You don't even know what Electrum does.
Not yet, but we will eventually.
Thanks to you.
God damn it. Well, you know what? Electrum's mentioned in the Hero of Ages Ars Arcanum, so it's not as big of a spoiler as I thought it was. I thought it didn't come up till Era 2, but it is mentioned in the next Ars Arcanum in Book 3. So
good. I get to find out what Electrum does, and then I can see if I'm right. But yeah, I have this theory that, and I now have a whole chart. Nothing is filled in, but I have a whole chart that tells me what I think. I have all the metals, and I'm waiting. I'm gonna figure it out.
For the Inquisitor.
It made me think that maybe the spike that is in Zane, right? That's his name. Fuck.
Yep.
Zane. The spike that's in Zane is amplifying his allomancy, kind of like Durlumin does. But it doesn't burn away like Durlumin, or like the metal or whatever. When used.
I think it has to do with his control.
How he's controlled?
No, with his allomantic control, because it seems
possibly.
if you remember in the beginning, Vin is he can control the amount. Like it seems
Oh
like
yeah. You're right.
yeah.
You're right. I forgot all about that part.
I'm assuming that's like a big part for the spike.
Possibly. Possibly.
What if at the like end of one of these books, Vince comes out with like spikes all over her body?
Well, I mean, it did give me this feeling that maybe the earring is acting as a spike, the little thing she keeps putting in her head. But
Her
I mean,
ear,
it's a very yeah, like it gave me the theory that maybe that would be some way of like how she is able to do what she does, like where she can sense through copper clouds and shit. But which is what bronze does, correct?
yeah,
Pretty sure
that's
it's
what bronze does.
Yeah, yeah, that's what. So then, see, I don't know why I didn't just read my theory and would have been like, I think it's bronze, but whatever. Like
Man,
literally, I wrote this theory down. But yeah,
You are
I
tired.
know this.
It's okay.
I know this theory is like hell of like a reach and like it's
mine
not
are
very
too.
possible, but
Sorry,
like
it's mine are too.
I still want her to be like part terrorist person. You know?
You still want her to have ferrochem?
I would love to see
Yeah.
that. Honestly, I would love to see her actually be like the Lord Ruler, 100%.
Yeah, because I'm saying like, what if like it brought back to like it brought me back to that when you said that she was using her earring as a spy order. Like, when
Maybe
does she
it's
keep
like
it
that.
all on all the time?
She,
I mean, she takes it off a
generally
couple
wears
times.
the earring. I think it mentions it a lot in the books. It seems like she wears it either all the time or a lot of the time.
So what if she was fighting the Lord Ruler, right? As she accidentally used the same trick he did with the fucking amplifying his elements thing through the earring.
Maybe, but I mean, it doesn't. If it's bronze, it doesn't make sense because bronze is wakefulness, and that's not what.
Yeah, but we don't. That's only for ferrochems. We don't know how like it affects like in general like a mix of both of them.
The combination. I mean, I don't know. It seemed as if more like it amplified it no matter what. Like it would amplify the allomancy or the ferrochemy when the Lord Ruler used it. So I mean, it would either amplify you being able to see into the copper cloud, or it would amplify your wakefulness. Is what it seemed
Able
like.
to. Oh, but that makes sense though. Like being able to see into the copper clouds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm thinking that it could
Yeah.
be like it could be a like kind of what you said, like the amplifying thing, like it's in his thing or whatever. Like the spikes through his body, it's giving him that control of it. Honestly, one second, let me go back to
my brain hurts.
what was he able to? What was it again? He was able to like control how well he pushed or pulled, right?
Yeah.
So it could be an iron or a steel kind of idea in that sense, I guess.
I'm assuming it's the push one because he was like going down, and it was like slow.
So just because I'm pretty sure this happened and I couldn't remember. So I was just
Don't
checking
give us
the
any
first.
spoilers.
No, I'm checking the first book for the fight between the Lord Ruler and Vin. Her earring gets ripped out of her ear during that fight because he's so strong he can push on metals in people as well. Just so you know.
Right.
So her earring, partway through the fight before she kills him, is ripped out of her ear.
Ew.
So that
does it like rip her ear, or
yeah, I think her ear gets all fucked up.
Ugh.
Well, I guess it kind of ruins that, but at the same time, I don't think it would, because like it's not like if it's the way that I'm talking about, where it amplifes the ability to see into the copper clouds. Well,
then it won't matter.
If it was ripped out, it's not like
you're talking a bit about like amplifying powers. That's why I was just.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I was just saying in general, like maybe the different metal.
We're both like thinking through this so hard. We're basically speaking the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I was more talking like it amplifies whatever the metal type would be. It amplifies that in allomancy kind of idea.
We go through things so slowly that I know it's been a while since you've read those chapters. That's why I just wanted to clarify that for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, it definitely. I mean, it didn't change it, but it definitely. I forgot all about the fact that it got pushed out of her ear. Honestly.
Yeah.
But like, it does. It just made me think because like, it was like literally. Was it before this chapter or was it after this chapter? I think it's after this chapter where she's like playing with her earring.
It was before. She was playing with it while she was hiding in the cubbyhole.
Yeah, and then I'm like, what if Vin is unintentionally spiking herself and like that's what amplifies because I'm pretty sure they talked about Seal Inquisitors being super powerful too.
Yeah, they're like super powerful. They're stronger than
Yeah.
Mistborn.
And the fact that Marsh has now basically Mistborn powers made me like, maybe it's like it amplifies it. Like it's like faking making Mistborn, because you can put all of the metals in, and then like it amplifies those aspects, even if the person doesn't necessarily show that they have it.
If,
It's like amplifying them.
and if it's like different metals, it makes sense that they would get like Mistborn powers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like
They
you're
have, I
drawing
believe,
on those
8 or
metals
9
that are in you.
spikes they mention. Just for your reference, the Inquisitors. I believe they mentioned that during the Marsh section of the last book.
Which is all the basic.
I mean,
And
I
it's
wanted
2
them
in
to
the
go into a
eyes,
little more
6 in
detail,
the
but
chest, and 1 in the back.
2 in the eyes. What was it? 1 in the chest,
6 in the chest, and 1 in the back.
and then the one in the neck that holds them all together, right?
No,
The
that's the
back,
back
yeah.
one.
Oh, is that the
It's
back?
like,
Okay,
yeah,
I
it
thought
goes
it
through
was
like
the
the spine or something, and Marsh says that's the one that connects them all. I think it's like up by like the shoulder blade, so it's like the upper back. But
It's funny because I thought about it like going from down up instead of up down.
I mean, it just makes me think about like if it is a spike like that for what Zane has, if he actually has something that also attaches it to him, kind of idea. Like it keeps his like if
as
he
far
has
as we
other
know,
spikes
there's
in
only
it
the
and all
one
that.
spike.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Yeah, but I feel like they would only need that if it's like multiple spikes in the middle, because it would be like a rib cage.
Yeah, and it connects them all together. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's something more of like the
It sounds
more.
like the connection of all the spikes, based on what Marsh said in the last book, is what keeps them alive. Like he says, like the only way to kill an Inquisitor is either to separate their head or to take out the back spike, which connects all the spikes together and like goes to your spine.
Kind of leads into the next chapter and the ending of that, because then I'm like, ooh, Saint's not actually defeated.
Anyways, we'll go into that then. So, Chapter 47, the epigraph. Alendi believes what they say. Why do you think Alendi would believe the others over Quan when Quan is the one who he seems so close to?
Why would Alendi believe the others instead of Quan?
Yeah, like the other Worldbringers.
Because Quan literally was like, nah, bitch, you're not the fucking hero legions anymore. And like, Alendi's like, nah, you see everything I'm doing, like it fits the prophecy, even though they literally accommodated everything that I'm doing to fit the prophecy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Like, I mean, the man is obviously against you.
I pictured this like argument with Alendi and Quan, like one of those high school fights where they're just screaming at each other from across the classroom.
No, I'm right. No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
So we start with Vin's point of view as she stares out into the mist from her balcony. She thinks about how it terrifies her that a part of herself is indifferent to all the people she had killed. She can feel the mist spirit watching her from afar, and she can feel the ever-growing thumping of the Well of Ascension returning to power. She feels that she has stretched herself too thin. She doesn't know who the spy is, doesn't know if Zane's comments about Demo were true, and she didn't even kill Set. What do you think about all the things that Vin has neglected to finish?
It makes her technically a good queen. So
Because she neglects things?
yeah. Because of the things she neglects in specific.
What do you think?
I just think she's procrastinating. But let's just figure out a task and fucking finish it. Jesus Christ.
No.
Go find the Well of Ascension. Jesus.
So Oriser comes up to her and asks what she's thinking about, and Vin replies she is thinking of the end, although she doesn't know what it is the end of. She says she has a decision. She has a decision.
Sorry.
She has a decision to make, and it'll be the end of something, no matter what choice she makes.
Oh, we will.
Oriser's only advice is to make a decision, and Vin says Sayes would have given better advice, but Oriser says he wasn't much fond of Terracemen, and also that they're kind of stringy when you eat them. So Vin steps away from the balcony and then notices mist flowing into the room, which is strange. Suddenly she hears Zane on the balcony and turns around to face him. Zane tells Vin it's time to go, time to be free. Vin is hesitant and says she isn't worthy of Elend. Zane says it doesn't matter and that Elend can't understand them. He then asks Vin where she would go, and she says after a moment that she would go north to Terrace. Were you surprised that Vin was considering going with Zane?
No. I wasn't surprised at that point at all, honestly. But he seems like the better choice in this scenario. He's strong. He's blah blah blah. He's protected you. Like that's how my thought was, and I feel like that's how she was. And then, literally, the whole fucking bullshit happens after. I was like, "No, you were the one, Zane."
I was thinking along the lines of like, I already offered like Ellen the chance to go or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So if he won't go, I'll just take his brother.
So Vin then
But-
hesitates again, saying she can't leave, but Zane says she would be making an even trade as she'd be taking Straff's Mistborn with her. Zane says she can save him. Zane slowly pulls her toward the balcony, and Vin reaches for a vial for the journey, causing Zane to suddenly spin around to see what she's doing before relaxing. Vin thinks that Ellen wouldn't have jumped like that. He would have trusted her. She was making the wrong choice. Vin tells Zane...
So also, real quick, I'm pretty sure when Zane states this is where I started, like right after he said it, I was like, okay, now I don't feel as like you should go with him, because when he speaks to her to like convince her to go, he states that if that they would bring, or you would be leaving, but you would take me as well. You know, like I would leave Straff. So it would remove a lot from him, and he will still think you are in the city, and will not attack, kind of idea. And I was like, wait, but that's a lie, because you literally told him that you were taking her, and that he should wait for the Koloss to come in and slaughter them, and him to be a good person and come in and be like, I'm saving you, you know. And I'm like, okay, now I'm a little sus on you, because. Before I was like, okay, yeah, maybe you do actually have these feelings. You're a little crazy. You know, you want somebody who is going to help you through this process, and you look at her and go, oh, well, she's like me, so maybe she's actually like me, and she hears these voices, and she can help me figure it out because she seems to have it all together. I'm just like, okay, yeah, maybe Zane's, you know, doing the right thing in his own mind. And I was like, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Let's go. You know, let's let him go. And then he's lying about this, and I'm like, okay, now I'm a little off put, because I mean you did lie technically about Set's people.
Yeah.
But like that made sense to me because like it was showing her something, you know, like it was showing her that the people around her can't be trusted, you know, kind of idea. And I was like, okay, maybe you're showing her that things are different and all that. Like, I mean, I haven't liked Zane really all that much in the first place. I just figured he was going to be like the Rashek. For her, like they were gonna go off and they were gonna do their thing, and then he was gonna be like the Rashek, but it reverses in like history doesn't repeat itself. Rashek doesn't win, and she ends up actually killing him later, kind of idea when he tries to backstab her. That's what I thought. Where I thought the story was gonna go, was gonna progress down, but I'm really hoping Ellen actually goes so he can get Allomancy, become a Mistborn.
So Vin tells Zane that she can't go with him, and he asks why. What is it about Ellen? Then responds that Ellen trusts her and he loves her. Zane says he loves her too, and she says she believes him, but she still can't leave with him because it would mean leaving Ellen. So were you happy that Vin chose Ellen after Zane?
After that, yeah.
Darkness, were you happy she chose Ellen?
Nope, Darkness fell asleep.
Kind of. I don't know. It's because I don't know how her choosing Ellen over Zane would work out in the aftermath of her wanting to leave.
Yeah, because you're kind of then still, like, leaving Zane to potentially be on Straff's side.
And yet you're leaving the entire city, so, you know... defenseless.
And without a boyfriend.
Like, she could have just been like, I'm gonna lie to him, and then, like, we'll go off, and then I can, like, kill him or tell him I don't actually feel that way about him later, but he's still gonna be away from the city. I feel like that would have been a good plan. If she's gonna go up to the fucking... Well, of Ascension anyways.
My thought was, like, after she was like, you know, I'm not gonna go, and then he was like, low-key getting dangerous, I would have been like, alright, fine, I guess I'll go, or whatever, right?
Yeah, I feel like at that point, after she said she wasn't gonna go, and she basically disrespected him, I feel like he wouldn't have taken that, honestly.
I don't know.
I don't know, I don't feel like she could have backtracked it.
He is crazy.
If you love me...
Oh, he's crazy in love.
So Zane then says he failed and attacks Vin. Zane says she was supposed to save him. Vin burns her medals.
You were supposed to save me!
Vin burns her medals and tells Orisa the code words run away as she begins to attack Zane back. Zane is burning ATM, however, so none of Vin's attacks hit. Zane asks her why she would force him to keep being Straff's tool. Vin ends up next to Orisa, but his shoulder isn't open and she tells him she needs the ATM. Zane then calls the Khandra to him, and Orisa looks at her with shame in his eyes. Zane tells Tensoon that he will no longer obey Vin's commands. It takes Vin a moment, but...
Tells who?
Tensoon.
I mean, we didn't get that till later, so...
No, he says Tensoon, you will no longer obey her commands.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's why I switch here. is because like he specifically calls him Tensoon there. So it takes Finn a moment, but she realizes that Orisur is no longer Orisur. He is the spy. Tensoon apologizes. Tensoon apologizes and says he has been here since the dog body. Instead, in here since the dog. So instead of I didn't write that very well. So instead of Orisur taking the dog body, Tensoon was the first to take the dog body. Finn realizes that she had taken Tensoon's word for how long the other bones had been around. So Ray's shocked to learn that Orisur was actually the spy and that Orisur had been dead since they got the dog.
Yes, 100%. Wait, but 1 second. So, the question I have, right?
Yeah.
Did Orisur actually die? Like, he killed
That's what I was
Orisur?
thinking, like, how did he kill him?
Or did he just take the bones of the dog and then assume the place of Orisur?
So we don't really know what happened, but we do know that, like, Kandra are not going to break their contract, so he had to have done something to Orisur to keep him from coming back. So he's either got him trapped somewhere or he's somehow killed him.
Because, like, I don't think it actually stated, like, oh, I killed him, you know.
Yeah,
it stated, I took the bones.
Yeah, he doesn't specifically state that he's killed him, but again, like, as I said, like, Orisur needs to fulfill his contract. He would be trying to fulfill his contract. So he's either somewhere boneless and trapped, or he's dead.
I mean...
But, like, he has to be in some situation where he can't fulfill his contract.
I assume he's dead, mainly for the fact that, you know, the ending of this chapter just kind of gives me hope that he will be still there for Vin.
The thing is, oh, you mean Tensoon? Yeah.
Yeah, Tensoon. But like, because he's also stated they can't attack humans. Never stated they can't attack.
Yeah. They can't kill humans.
So...
They can attack humans. They just can't kill.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
But they can't kill anything else. They can kill animals. They can kill other Kandra potentially, and they obviously, if they know how to kill them, like how they can die, they know how to kill other Kandra.
Hence why the later thing kind of makes more sense of like why they're so afraid of Allomancers, because like, oh well, you know, let's use the weapon that's killing us to kill them, you know, kind of idea. But
what do you think, Darkness? Were you surprised that Orisur was actually Tensoon and the spy?
Yes, but I didn't feel that shocked because, like,
shocked as fuck.
Because it's just, you know, like, in the beginning, I just always was prepared for fucking
you didn't like him in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all of the bonding they had was just Tensoon.
Yeah.
Orisur never bonded with Vin.
So much. I hate it. I hate that I didn't see it. Like, god damn. I mean, I kind of did, but then, like, you steered me off of it when you were like, oh, yeah, he confirmed it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, then I guess it makes sense. God damn. But yeah,
what was the body before the dog?
It was just some random guy, bones, I believe.
Yeah.
And he gets injured during one of the fights, and she gets him. She's like, "I'm not giving you a human body," and he's like, "Well, fuck you." And then she gives him the dog body, and then sometime between her getting the dog, like basically, I think it's basically implied that like he takes over when Orisur goes to like digest the bones by himself.
Yep.
Yeah,
eat the dog. Yep.
That's when it happens.
Because if you remember, she left him there.
Yeah, she leaves him with the dog body because she never watches him. Like the Kandra don't like to be watched while they take a new body. So she leaves him alone in a room, and obviously Tensoon's waiting for Orisur somewhere in that room or like nearby, and goes and takes the body instead, and does whatever to Orisur.
I still want to see their base form.
Yeah, that's probably just like fucking Ditto, to be honest. That's how I imagine it, honestly. Just like that fucking gelatinous little goo. And it's like, oh, okay, I consume like a slime from like a Ditto or a slime from fucking.
Yeah, it's like a slime from
D&D.
whatever.
Yeah, from like D&D, and like you just absorbs it, and then like once it has the bones, it just moves and turns into the body, you know, and like, hey, and now it's, you know, blah, it becomes flesh and blood, kind of a damn. But
I would see it more as like a mist blob.
No, because based on the picture, I've sent you guys pictures previously, and they're basically like a clear, they're like a clearish, like gloopy slime thing. Just like both Mist Race and Kandra are like this clearish slime goop thing that like it's not
Yeah,
it's not slimish enough that like it spreads, like it has a solid mass, but like it needs bones and like muscles and stuff to properly move around.
You think they come from the lake?
to live.
You think they come from what?
You think they come from the lake?
The Metal Lake?
Yeah, like what if he created them by using that fucking water or whatever, the metal lake, and he also just used
Dead
that
bodies.
metal lake to create the spikes for
Do you
the
notice?
Inquisitor.
Do you notice, Darkness, that because I'm going on your theory that Koloss are actually zombies, kind of like thing. You know, like they're taking corpses, and that's what becomes Kolosses. Have you noticed that both of them reside around bodies in general, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very weird to me. Like they need bones,
I mean,
or you know, of a
Tension
creature.
has said that the Conjure kind of like the Koloss. They kind of feel like a kinship with them.
Yeah, which would make a lot more sense. Which make a lot of sense. That they're like, instead of bones, they literally just get an entire corpse and then like become it or something, you know, in some way, shape, or form. I don't know yet because I want to know about Koloss. They seem so interesting to me.
Anyway, so Zane moves towards her, and Vin reverts to how she used to act in the past, trying to look small and consciously soothing Zane. Zane gets mad at her soothing him and slams her into the misty floor of the room, and Vin stifles her cries so that no one outside the room can hear her. Again,
because they'll get murdered.
Yeah, she's worried about like guards getting murdered and like Ellen coming and getting murdered. Again, Zane says that Vin was supposed to save him as he begins kicking her. Vin soon.
Honestly, I think Ellen came in there. He would have saved her. He took on a Koloss. He could take on a Mistborn.
He took on a Koloss. Although Koloss don't have ATM as far as we're aware.
He took on a Koloss. He could take on a Mistborn.
So
he probably he doesn't think about his attacks as well, so like it wouldn't be seen.
So Vin soon gets out of her old instincts and pulls herself away. Zane follows, moving before her as he knows what she'll do. Vin thinks she's going to die. She goes towards Tensoon, but Zane slices at her cheek, giving her a gash matching the scar on her other cheek from her fight with Shanna Lariel the year prior. Vin throws coins at Zane, but he pushes back on them. Vin burns Duralumin, but suddenly the room shakes and Vin is shoved backwards. Zane says that Tensoon told him about Duralumin and had eventually found the note from the metallurgist explaining how to make it. Were you surprised that Zane had Duralumin?
No. Like, especially after... Like, he didn't have to say it either. That's another thing. He didn't even have to say the fact that, like, oh yeah, Tensoon told me it.
I think he's just kind of throwing it in her face, like, my spy.
Yeah.
You thought my spy was your friend.
Yeah.
He gave me all your secrets.
And he just gave me all your secrets. So, yeah, like, the moment she, like, it said, oh yeah, she's gonna use Duralumin or whatever, I was like, he's probably gonna use it too. Like, the fuck? Like, you know... Like, he probably knows about this shit. You told your dog.
Well, the thing is, she, I don't believe actually fully told him, because he makes mentions when they have one of their talks. He's like, you're a lot stronger than other Mistborn, and I don't know why. Like, you're like the Mistborn of, like, ancient times.
Yeah.
So at that point, I think he doesn't know about Duralumin, because otherwise he'd know why she's stronger.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I thought she did tell him, though.
I think Orisur was the one around still when she got the Duralumin. She got the Duralumin like right at the start of the book.
Yeah.
So it depends if Orisur told him about the Duralumin.
Well, I mean, they do very good research, so I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. But
yeah, like I mean, they do very good research. I'm sure he could have researched with it. You know, it didn't surprise me at all because I was like, they have to show how actually overpowered this man is, so it looks super convincing when she beats him in some way, shape, or form.
And it also makes sense
granted,
why
I was thinking of other ways, but
it also makes sense why Tensoon keeps saying he really doesn't like Zane. Don't trust Zane. Why are you like hanging out with Zane?
Yeah, it definitely makes way
He's
more
like,
sense.
stop! You're falling into his trap.
Yeah, but like I was thinking of all these like possibilities of how she could like, you know, beat him, I guess, you know. And like I was like, what if she tricks him into using his Duralumin on the ATM?
Yeah, we don't know what Duralumin and ATM do together.
Yeah, like exactly. Like, what would happen if it? I mean, like my thought was it's just gonna amplify it, you know, real fast, kind of idea. Give you like a better sense of the future,
like longer into the future.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, and then I was like,
what if these images?
I mean, they're shadowy, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if using their
With actual images.
it
Yeah.
puts like actual images.
Like
I want to know what happens if two people burn atium and duralumin together.
Yeah.
There's like images of everyone flying everywhere.
You just like black out because there's so many shadows.
Shadows, yeah.
But that's why I was like, oh yeah, just trick him into he's crazy. So just trick him into using the Darlumin on the ATM, you know. But
I want them to use gold on one of the creatures, but whatever.
gold on one of the Conjure?
And not gold. What was it? The fucking where you can see other people's paths.
Gold.
No, I think
like,
it was the 11th metal, malatium.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Gold was your own past.
Yeah. Also.
Oh yeah, true.
Actually, we're almost there. I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have it. I still have it as Electrum on my list.
So Vin scrambles away on the floor from Zane, mist up to her head as she crawls on her hands and knees. So there's a fuck ton of mist in this room. She thinks that she
can't draw on anything.
She thinks that she needs ATM, but it's in Tensu's shoulder, unable to be pulled on because it's in his flesh. However, Vin thinks that she had pulled metal out of flesh once before when fighting the Lord Ruler due to breathing in the mist. This had never worked when she tried it since, but she tries to beg in her head for it to work. Zane pulls them to the ceiling, trapping Vin between him and the ceiling. He then releases them, causing them to fall, and he spins them so Vin slammed to the floor. Zane then says that all his work had been wasted. He had hit his men with Set so that she would think he was that Set was part of the assassination. He had made sure she would fight in front of Elend to make him fear her. He had pushed her abilities so she'd realize how strong she was, and that she was supposed to save him. Vin then kisses Vin Vin then kisses Vin and shoves a dagger into her chest.
At the same time?
What did you think of Zane's plans and his reaction to her not saving him?
I mean, he's crazy, so makes sense. Honestly, that's exactly what I saw when I was like, oh yeah, if she rejects him, he's gonna just fucking revert to the fucking plan before. Yeah. Murder her. If I can't have her, nobody can.
He's literally like, oh, I guess
we get one kiss in and then we'll kill you.
Ew. Yeah.
It's some toxic relationship here.
I mean, I think both of them are, but sure.
Tensu
I think both brothers are toxic relationships. So.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't properly get Darkness's response. What did you think of Zane's plans and his reaction to not saving him, Darkness? Do you have any
Zane's
thoughts?
what? Reaction to
what? His reaction. His plans and his reaction to her not saving him.
Maybe did he specify what they're saving him from?
Nope.
I think he kind of says that he wants to be he feels like he needs to be attached to someone, and he wants to be freed from Straff, I believe. But
I'm pretty sure he reveals the whole voice thing.
I think
she's the only one that never.
He does. Well,
yeah.
It's the voice thing is the reason why he thinks she can save him. But I believe he says in previous chapters that he doesn't want to be Straff's tool, but he doesn't feel like he can be by himself.
Mm.
And so being with Vin was his salvation to not be Straff's tool anymore. Anyway, so Tensun suddenly shouts out that Zane should be careful as Vin knows much about Khandra. She knows why they fear Allomancers. Zane is confused and tells Tensun to be quiet. Vin glances at Tensun and then slams him with a soothing while burning Duralumin. Suddenly, she was in two places at once. She controls Tensun's body to slam into Zane, throwing him off of Vin. Zane kicks at Tensun as Vin gets up, breaking some of his bones. Tensun ends up next to Vin, and she cuts into Tensun's shoulder to get the ATM out. What did you think of Vin being able to control Tensun's body?
That made me question, do you think she'll be able to control Kolos like that? Because Loki, I wouldn't be surprised, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Interesting. Huh. What did you think, Mythic, of Vin being able to control Tensun?
I mean, I definitely thought it was really cool that that's what that did, or whatever, but...
When he was in pain or whatever when she first did it, I thought he was going to explode.
You thought that would just kill him instantly?
Yeah, I did too, honestly, yeah. I thought he was going to explode and then she was going to pull the metal.
She forces her mind into his.
He was going to pull the metal or some shit. Yeah. I definitely thought the same thing. I was like, ooh.
So Vin then burns Atium, but it only lasts a few seconds before burning out. Zane tells her it was a lump of lead covered in Atium. Vin says that her brother told her not to trust anyone, and Zane says he was smart, but Vin replies that he was a paranoid fool. She says that Zane had been pushing her and Elend apart, and that he made her think Elend was using her. Zane said Elend was using her, but Vin says everyone uses everyone, but you can use people for love, support, and trust. Zane says he trusted her and she betrayed him, but Vin says she will still save him. Vin moves to attack Zane, but he easily avoids her. Vin thinks that she can't hit him if he knows where she will attack before she does. She then realizes something as the mist slowly fills the room up to her chin. She closes her eyes and relaxes her muscles before snapping her eyes open and letting her body move on instinct. She watches as he flinches to the left and Vin immediately wrenches her arm to the right. She could tell what the future would hold based on how Zane reacted, and then could change it. Zane's weapon takes her in the arm, but her weapon takes Zane in the neck. Zane stumbles back, eyes wide in shock. Were you surprised that Vin was able to beat Zane while he was burning atium?
Yes. I was surprised how she did it, but not that she did it, just how she did it, you know?
I got a little annoyed.
Oh.
It feels like she really shouldn't have been able to. It's just weird.
I think a normal person couldn't, but well, being a Mistborn, like, you have, like, especially with, like, Peter and stuff, you have, like, enhanced reflexes and balance and everything. So I think with having, like, superhumanly strong reflexes, it is possible to, like, move that quickly. But I think, like, a normal Alamancer who probably couldn't.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
We switch to Zane's point of view as he realizes he's dying. He notes that Vin's atium shadow had split at the last moment. Zane tries to speak, although he knows the words aren't being formed properly. He tries to say that he thought she'd save him because she was the only person the voice in his head didn't tell him to kill. God tells Zane that of course he didn't tell Zane to kill her. God then also says the most amusing thing about the whole situation was that Zane was never really insane.
Never really insane.
What do you think about Zane not actually being crazy?
I was like, I mean, I already called it, but yeah.
You did call it.
Yeah, I was like, he's not crazy. He's just hearing this God voice in his head, you know. But like,
what if it's the Lord Ruler never being dead and creating Horcruxes?
I mean,
Shit.
maybe. I mean, that spike in his fucking chest would say that, but you know, because that's what the Lord Ruler was doing with the Inquisitors. But I don't know. I still feel like it's you know, Ruin or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the other one's name is. Talking to him, like, I'm still on it, thinking Ruin is the evil one, but like, you know, I'm holding out that maybe the other one might be.
Preservation is the other one.
Preservation, that's it. Yeah, it could be like the opposite. You know, like maybe Preservation is actually bad, but like they're.
I mean, one thing that could go towards your theory is that I believe Sazed does say that in the time of the Lord Ruler, he didn't let anything change. Fashion stayed the same. He didn't let science progress. Like, nothing changed. He kept everything the exact same it had been since he, like,
Preservation. Yeah, But now that you've already lied to me once, you might lie to me again.
Or maybe I'm double bluffing.
Yeah, you're throwing me off. So, I mean, I'm keeping it out that one of them. Well, I feel like they're both gods, and that one of them is evil, and the evil one, whichever it is talking to him. So, I mean, it makes sense the way you're talking, the way that you say that, right? It does make sense. But if you remember my partial theory from before, that I don't think that Rashek was actually an evil person, just doing things the way he thought it would be, but it was obviously, you know, nobody else wanted that.
However, what if the one talking to Zane was the good one because it wanted Vin to leave with Zane?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to say.
Maybe.
But did it ever tell him to kill Ellen?
It did tell him to kill Ellen. Yes.
Okay. I don't think he's bad.
You don't think? Wait.
You don't think this god is?
Yeah.
Oh, you think the? Oh, okay.
I mean, based on the way it talks, it probably is Ruin. It's just is Ruin then? Yeah, as Mythic said, the bad or the good god.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it talks, yeah, he wants everybody dead. So, like, you know,
Except
Ruin
Vin.
Would make more sense.
Or, except for Vin.
Because, like, yeah, of course. But
what
I
if
mean,
it's because Vin is the hero of ages?
Or if it's good, yeah, that would be the explain on that. But if it's bad, maybe
maybe he's like, you need to kill Ellen because Ellen's keeping her here and not going to the well.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Or I mean, maybe, or maybe it's the opposite of like that, because like, what if instead, it wants Vin to be protected because Vin's really not the hero of ages.
That's true.
And it's going to be another Rashek thing, you know.
Well, again, they were saying, though, like, with the whole Quan's thing, maybe if Rashek did the correct thing in taking the power for himself, even though he didn't do it in a good way, because he probably wasn't the real hero of ages, but if Alendi also wasn't the hero of ages, not taking the power is like, if Finn is like Alendi and not the hero of ages, then, like, but and like they think that it's like everything's a bad thing. Then
But technically,
you never know.
Okay.
Could be either way. If Finn's the hero of ages, and then they want her to get to the well, then it's probably that's a good god. If they want Vin to get to the well because she's not the hero of ages, then it's the bad god.
What if she's the hero of ages, but the hero of ages is bad?
That would then reverse all what I just said.
Well, we've already talked about the fact that I think Rashek might have been the good person in the scenario, just doing the wrong things. But that I also made the comment that Alendi might have actually been a bad person, manipulating everybody into believing that he's this hero of ages, and he's really not. He just wanted the power. Rashek saw that and was like, "Oh, I need to stab this man immediately," and then shit went to where it went.
But I'm thinking along the lines of like, if the hero of ages prophecy is for a bad person, then is it to bring the deepness into more power, like complete power,
Maybe plunge the world into deepness.
or is the deepness actually good?
Oh yeah, that would make okay. Man, we're just flipping everything on its head.
Yeah.
Midnight's like they're like so far off. What the fuck are they doing?
Why are they making these theories? What?
Alright, so we switch back to Vin's point of view as Zane dies. Vin confirms he dies and then realizes how much she is bleeding. Tensoon apologizes from the floor and Vin notes his injuries. She asks how she can help and asks if he needs another body. Tensoon is confused that she wants to help him when he nearly got her killed, but agrees that he needs a new body. Vin says to take Zane's body, and Tensoon is shocked that Zane is dead, and he can't see from where he's lying. Vin then explains how she killed Zane, seeing how he reacted let her know how to react. Tensoon replies that how she did that is brilliant. Tensoon then says he doesn't want to wear Zane's body, and between the unbroken bones in his current body and the leftover unbroken bones from the other dog body, he should be able to create a working body. He also says that his contract is now void, and he must go back to his people for reassignment, even though he doesn't want to go. Vin says she understands.
That saddened me so much.
Yeah.
I was
Vin
like,
says
no, they're gonna kill you.
Okay, I'm gonna pause here. So that thing he did with the dogs kind of reinforces Mythic's thing where like they could just make a whole body out of different things, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Because as they've said, like they're related to Mistbrace. I think they could technically like make any weird sort of body, but they tend to try and look like an actual either person or like creature. I mean, usually they're people, but like so they don't usually mix and match bones because then you don't actually look like the person you're trying to mimic. But he can mix and match dog bones because he can just look like whatever dog.
They're related to Mistbrace?
Yes, they've said this early on. Or I think they said that in the last
very
book.
early on. Very early on when they introduced Kandra, it was like the one we saw before was like a child.
Yeah, Mysteries are like
the adult version.
Yeah,
of it.
they don't know exactly what happened, like if they're just like cousins or if they like actually like Mysteries become Kandra. They have no idea how it all works, but they do know that they're similar.
I just want to know now if like Mistbrace were a thing before the Ascension and Conjura. No, because they say Conjura weren't a thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think so.
We don't know for sure, but they are called Mist Race, and we know that there weren't the Mists before kind of the whole deepness thing, at least.
But the deepness is a mist, no?
That's what I'm saying, like before the whole deepness thing and before like everything happened. So like maybe the Mist Race came with the deepness, or maybe they came after the Ascension. We don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm gonna go with Mist Race came with the deepness before the Ascension,
and then
and the Conjure came after
the Ascension. Yeah.
Based off
the Conjure do say specifically that Tensoon says specifically that they were created by the Lord Ruler.
By the Lord Ruler.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Lord Ruler could have done something to Mist Race to make them Kandra after he ascended. Unless he also made Mist Race. We don't know yet.
It's not stated.
It's not stated.
I must go back to my homeland.
Yes, even though he doesn't want to, Vin says she understands and she thanks him for the hint in the fight. Tensoon asks that she doesn't share the knowledge she has of Kandra, and she says she doesn't even truly understand it anyways. Before Vin leaves to let Tensoon sort out his body, he says he'll be gone before she returns to the room. Vin thinks that everything is collapsing around her, and that she needs to go to Elend, even though she should probably go to Sazed for medical treatment. So yeah, what did you think about Tensoon leaving?
I fear he's gonna get executed.
I wish
for betraying his contract.
Yep.
Essentially, yeah.
And attacking attacking a human.
I'd say
Even though he didn't kill him.
it's more the fact that he had to reveal Condra's secrets.
Yep, that too.
So that was
when you put a spy in the enemy territory, you got other spies watching the spy. You know.
So that was the end of our chapters. So we just got our overview questions now. So first of all, do you think Ellen and Vin will be convinced to leave Luthadel and head to the Well of Ascension?
100%, because I think
Vin's already leaving the
well, I mean, I feel
she might have changed her mind after the whole thing with Zane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do, and I think that the group of people is exactly who they said is gonna go.
It's gonna go. You think it's gonna be those four? And do you think Maurice will be able to convince them to get Alrian going with them too?
I hope not, but for your sake, yes.
What do you think, Darkness?
I think Alrian's definitely gonna go, and I think she's gonna fuck it all up.
You think she's gonna fuck it up? Oh no!
She's the Rashek of the group.
Oh no!
No.
Give me even more reason to hate her.
Yeah. Like this book is doing that already.
So our next overview question is, do you think we'll see anything more of Tensoon, either in this book or the next book?
Yes. I don't think he's actually gonna die.
We're just gonna find out he got executed, and that's it.
Do you think it'll be in this book then, or the next book, Mythic, if we are gonna see him?
Next book. I think this is the end of him for this book.
Do you agree, Darkness?
No. The fuck? He's dead.
Oh yeah, you just think.
Well, yeah. So you're not gonna see a general, yeah.
Do you think then we'll hear about his death or get like any other?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's the last thing we'll hear. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
We're gonna find out he got executed. He like turned himself into shit.
They'll like run into another Chandra, and Vin's gonna be like, "Where's Tensoon?" They'll be like, "Dead because of you."
Maybe I don't know how they're like. Maybe they'll send like somebody else to replace him for like the completion of that contract.
For the completion of Orisar's?
Wait, no. You don't. Yeah, that's my theory. Actually,
because Orisar's contract was not completed. Tensoon's was.
Yeah. So my theory is he's gonna go back. He's gonna go back to this group of people, a group of Khandra, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you stopped Orisar from doing his contract. You now need to abide by that contract." And like basically think of it as a punishment for him, but really it's not a punishment. But,
really, he's like, "Yes, more Vin."
I was thinking along the lines of they're gonna execute him and then they're gonna replace him
with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll see. But
yeah,
and that's how they find out about the execution.
My final question was: do you think Straff will take Zane's advice about letting the Kolos attack Luthadel? Do you think that's how it's going to go down?
I think so.
Yeah, 100%. I think Kolos are just going to fucking come murk everything in here, and
then
he's going to have to take.
Ellen's going to
have to come back to the city, and he's going to pick it up back from the ashes.
Yeah, it's mostly going to be though that it's just Straff believes Zane that Vin's going to be gone with him or not, right? That's the biggest thing.
The thing I think is going to happen though is he's going to try to follow that plan. He's going to try to fuck up the Kolos, and he's going to get fucked up.
I hope so. I want him to die.
Ultimately, I feel like the Kolos are going to be the ones left over.
Yeah, and then Ellen's going to come in. He's already fucked up one of them. He's going to come in, and he's going to ruin the city when he goes to Mistborn.
Mm-hmm. The hero of ages is going to come back, Vin.
Which is Ellen.
No, and she's gonna control all the fucking Kolos.
Silence!
They all bow and cower. Ellen's like nudging her. She's like, "Can I get my horse back?"
Oh no, I think that sword that he found is gonna definitely go to her though.
Oh, that'd be dope. But it's metal, right?
Yeah, it's made of metal.
Is it metal?
Yeah, it's made of like sheet metal pretty much. Yeah. It's a big ass piece of fucking metal.
It's like a big cleaver type thing.
Yeah.
So next episode is going to be chapters 48 to 51.
58?
No,
48. What's this? Holy shit.
48 to 51. And we're also
48 to 58.
We're also finishing off part 4, so we're going to be starting part 5, which is called Snow and Ash. Which
Yay!
some hints as to what's going to happen. What'd you say, Darkness?
They go to the mountains.
Ash Mountain.
So it's called Snow and Ash is part 5, and we'll be doing.
No, so I'm assuming the Terrace Mountains, but yeah.
Oh, that too.
So it's gonna be chapters 48 to 51. This is the third to last episode. We're gonna have 12 episodes total. This is gonna be episode 10. We're almost there, guys.
No, I mean, yay! I mean,
we got
a whole nother book for this series.
We got less than 200 pages left. So
All right, Darkness. We're gonna read them all right now.
no. So
I'm just gonna switch up the spark notes, bro.
no.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so that's it. Did you guys have any
All right, I'm
other
just gonna look at the summary.
thoughts or theories? Oh,
I'm pretty sure I got all my theories out there.
good Darkness. Anything else you want to say?
I think the Fire Nation's gonna attack.
Oh my
Oh
god.
no, not the Fire Nation.
It all went to shit when the Fire Nation attacked.
No, but that's all my theories. Yeah.
I mean, if the Fire Nation was Kolos, yes.
All right. Well, thank you guys, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Hey.
Bye.